so shiny. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. And my partners love me for it. I'm a natural 20 when it comes to being me. I'm a time traveler, so Alonzi. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. I'm proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. I'm proud to be. In whatever sitch, like singing on Twitch or playing D&D. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. You may call me obsessive, but I just border on being a collector and being a dragon that sits atop my treasure. That's so shiny. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. And my partners love me for it. I'm a natural 20 when it comes to being me. I'm a time traveler, so Alonzi. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to chapter 12 plus of Higurashi no Kokoro ni Higurashi When They Cry. As always, I am joined by David and Kayla.
I am Kayla.
And I'm David.
And together we are David and Kayla.
That you are. I hydrated. Yes, you're very OP, Dark Lord. I did the thing. You are mighty. So yeah, we get to continue on where we left off last time. Note for anyone joining for the first time, there will be spoilers. Though you will probably just be confused as fuck as to what's going on, probably creeped out. But to be fair, we're going to be creeped out too.
It is probably very confusing right now.
Yep. So basically, we moved to this little small town. We joined a club with a bunch of people who are close to our age, some girls, that they play games all the time, and apparently find out that there's been murders every year. Like, or at least, yeah, someone's gotten killed, someone's disappeared every year for the past however many years. This is set in the 80s in Japan. And nobody talks about it at all.
Nobody.
And it's creepy as fuck. And now all of our friends are acting weird, and we're acting weird. We're terrified.
We're going fucking crazy.
Crazy.
Like,
Project
beyond
Moon
crazy. We're
Project Moon is
insane.
going absolutely batshit crazy.
Yep. Yes.
It's great.
Thank you for the warning. Yep. Spoilers. Death, blood, a lot of, mental health stuff. So much craziness is going on in this game. So, let's check out our tips. And continue. Tips are things that... They call it a game. It's not really a game. It's what's known as a sound novel, which is basically we don't have any choices to make in this. We're just reading through it. It has sounds that make the atmosphere, and they give us little tips to kind of possibly explain what's happening or give us some little hints as to what might be going on. There are 8 total arcs, I believe 8 of this series. This is just the first one. We're on the first one. We're on chapter 12 of the first arc, which is...
We'll be here a while.
Yep. The first 4 arcs, I believe, are called the question arcs. So we get to see things happen. And then
have questions.
And have very many questions about what the fuck's going on. And then the last 4 arcs are set to answer. They're the answer arcs. So yeah.
Or one can hope.
Yeah. We can only hope we learn what the fuck is going on. So yes, anyone who knows the series or has played this game, please keep out spoilers. I've at least seen the series, but David and Kayla have not. So,
No. Flint keeps yelling at me whenever I talk about maybe watching the anime.
No, not allowed yet. Hey, thanks for stopping by, Daniel.
I'm too
Thanks
lazy
for
to do that. Way too lazy. I'll go watch Log Horizon Haikyuu instead. Sorry.
I need to catch up on Log Horizon. Fuck.
Right.
It's not that good.
And cells at work. No.
Right. I need to finish the last season of Haikyuu. Shit.
I need to
need
do
to do
that.
that.
I haven't done the whole season at all. Yeah.
Because we're a bunch of fucking weebs. Okay. So split personality? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark?
No, it should be an exclamation point, not a question mark.
So back and forth.
I see it in movies quite often, but what is it exactly?
Multiple personalities are thought to be escapism. I don't know who's talking right now.
I think
Not
it's just
at
random
all.
people. I think it's random people.
Yep.
Oh, so I can sound like whatever I want. Awesome.
Yep.
Multiple personality disorder is a form of escape?
Correct! The exact mechanism is not fully understood, but it's believed to be a type of defense for the brain to retain mental stability.
What is it? Goofy?
Oh my god, like hypothetically, poor people imagine themselves as wealthy
Gosh.
as a form of escapism, is it not? Is this also a form of multiple personality disorder?
I wouldn't go that far, but broadly speaking, one could infer that it's something that occurs in us all.
Does the split personality occur when, like, one cannot tell which is reality and, like, which one is the escape?
That's difficult to say. There are some who agree with that and some who disagree. There is no consensus.
Then, like, is the occurrence of multiple personalities still an unknown phenomenon? Something not fully comprehended in the psychiatric field?
Unfortunately, that is the current state of things. We can only put our hope in future research. Not a very good Goofy.
But it's sort of cool having a split personality. Like, what kind of people get split personalities?
Recent studies find that those who develop it, or rather those who are more susceptible to developing it, may be genetically predisposed or may have had abnormal mental development. Some say that childhood... This is a really bad time to be Goofy. Some
Yeah.
say
I
that
think
childhood
sounds like great. I don't know what you're
chances.
talking about. It's a perfect time. Like, speaking of which, person A had experienced abuse as a child, didn't he? How sad.
Whoa, fuck.
What the fuck?
Well.
What sound?
Different personalities. Let's watch a video of him right after these commercials.
So Goofy
Yes!
was perfect for this. Wow.
Wow. Okay.
I think we did perfect personalities for this,
Yep,
this
absolutely.
conversation.
Absolutely. At the 7th Mart. Okay, I got narrator this time. Let me grab my back. The 7th Mart was a... Wait, there we go. 7th Mart was a bargain supermarket with food and alcohol.
What's this, Keiichi? So many. There's no reason to get all different kinds, is there?
Oh yeah, Mom. I flopped all the different colored cup noodle bowls into the cart.
Are we back at the fucking store?
I think we're at the
Cup noodles
store.
have gotten so elaborate recently, and there are a bunch of different types. I want to try each of them at least once.
I knew it was pretty selfish of me, but I thought I'd at least give it a try.
Keiichi, buy them in the big case. It's cheaper.
Dad faltered. Well, I had a feeling it'd end up like this. Dad knew there was no point in him butting in.
But I'd only get one kind. I'd get bored with it.
I was resisting as a formality. I'd already given up inside and wasn't sure which case of noodles to get.
If you can't pick them, Mommy will pick for you.
Oh my god.
You don't have to rush me. I quickly searched the cases of noodles for what I want.
Pork bone and ginger, large. Oh, sorry.
Dope. Pork bone and ginger, large cup. Hey, Keiichi, can't you get a more normal one?
If I let Mom pick, she'd err on the side of safety and get soy sauce or salt flavored.
Pork bone is good. I don't want a big bowl of tasteless stuff.
I remembered insisting that the noodles I picked were the right kind.
And then she walked in.
In this
Why
frozen
would I?
memory and time, this encapsulated world, I didn't have the power to look around my surroundings. So, I did what I could and reached out with my hearing and vision, sharpening my senses to find the presence I overlooked. No matter how much I searched through my field of vision, I couldn't see Rena. I rewound the situation, searching. But of course I couldn't find her. Then she was spying at me from my blind spot? I go through the sound and presences again, looking. I could sense the other customers. They were all mixed about, moving as they please. There was nobody looking over this way and no one trying to get behind me. Not here. Couldn't be here. Probably wasn't here. I would definitely notice if someone was right behind me, even when I wasn't on my guard. I smiled wryly at the thought of using a vague word like probably right before contradicting it with definitely. Then I paused my mental replay as a chill ran down my spine. There was definitely a presence like a shadow behind me. That was a terror unlike any other. If a presence really had manifested behind me, I would definitely have turned around to check for it. But the world had moved on and there was no way for me to turn around. While carrying that frightening shadow on my back, I was gleefully running around the store searching for a case of noodles. Running through that instant noodle section, bad-mouthing my mom. But there was that presence constantly at my back, sticking to me like a shadow. No way to see what it was. Realizing it now after the fact was horrifying and repulsive. In that moment of time, I was running around gleefully, carrying that cardboard box, tip-tap. But listening to that moment again, I could hear footsteps other than mine going pit-pat with every step. Tip-tap, tip-tap, tip-tap. Pit-pat, pit-pat, pit-pat. Tip-tap, tip-tap. Pit-pat, pit-pat. Tip-tap, tip-tap. Pit-pat, pit-pat. While I was running, the sound of those barefoot footsteps going pit-pat were right behind mine. Me running around gleefully in that closed-off moment in time. But I didn't hear it. No, I heard it. That's why I remembered it. I didn't think I had heard anything. That's why I didn't turn around. That is why I didn't turn around. In that moment, the pit-pat of those footsteps were following me the entire time. I couldn't run faster and escape. I couldn't run any faster than I'd ran at that time. I couldn't turn around. I hadn't turned around before, not once. Then I'd returned to my parents and started talking. The shadow-like presence was right at my back. Since I didn't move, the shadow didn't move. That is why it made no sound. That was all. At that time, I hadn't taken a single step while talking with my parents. I was just standing there. This was undeniable. And yet, I heard it. A pit-pat. That shouldn't be. If I took 3 steps, it followed 3 steps. Wasn't that the rule? There was no sound other than that. At that time, the entire world had gone dark, a sudden darkness. It was the end of my reflective journey. I was tired. I wanted to end it. Someone turn on the light. Except my body couldn't move. As if I was sewn into that moment in time. Pit-pat. My past self's hair stood on end. That's impossible. Now that's just breaking the rules. I haven't moved, so you shouldn't be moving either. I couldn't move, so you shouldn't be able to move either. Follow the rules. Pit-pat. Yet that sound echoed in the darkness once again. The hair on the back of my neck pricked up on end. It was so close that it was hard to tell whether it was touching the hair or not. Why couldn't I move like how the presence was moving behind me? I quickly realized I could move. It's just that I was scared and didn't want to. But now was the only time I could turn around. It was something unforgivable in this moment in time. But I needed to turn around immediately. As if my entire being was trying to force me to stop, began to administer a pain like a needle being stuck into every pore. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. A scream I was unable to vocalize. Ah! I turned around. At first, I couldn't understand the meaning of it.
What?
What is this? The situation in front of my eyes, it was just like a mouth biting an apple and slurping the juice. The way you would do with an apple. My mind was being eaten. It began to munch down, slurping the juices because it was like an apple. Meaning what was in front of me was... Ah! Okay.
Coolio.
We
Wait, is
learned
that the
so
achievement
much.
for looking at all the tips?
I guess so. Oops.
Neat.
Let me turn this off.
We must be getting close to the end then if there aren't any more tips.
Probably. Just watch. We stopped in the last chapter. But
We
that
totally
means
would.
we get to jump into the next arc then.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. So let's continue. Nope. I guess I'd be lying if I said I didn't get any sleep. I tried to stay awake all night, but there were definitely gaps in my memory. I guess I kept nodding off and jerking awake in panic all night. I spent all night hugging the metal bat and sat on top of the futon I used to barricade my door. Waiting, watching just in case someone tried to break in through my window. If I left the spot, someone would break through the door, sending the futon flying and attack me. But if I stopped watching the window, someone would break through the glass and attack me. I tried telling myself I was just being paranoid, but I couldn't sleep. The thought of being so vulnerable scared the living daylights out of me. If sleep meant taking that risk, I didn't need it. It was so much better just to stay awake. At some point during that endless cycle of nodding off and jolting awake, light began to shine outside, but that was it. It wasn't so much the morning as it was just sun simply having risen. I snuck a peek out through the curtains. Rena was gone. I couldn't see her anywhere no matter how hard I looked. Finally, I could breathe a deep sigh of relief. The night was finally over. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tired, but I didn't feel like sleeping at the moment. I still had time, but I needed to make my own breakfast, so I'd better get started soon. Skipping school was also an option. With my mom gone, it'd be easy to play hooky. Honestly, I debated it. The risk involved in leaving my house was incalculable. So staying holed up in here was probably my safest option. But staying here wouldn't solve anything. Oishi-san wouldn't help me without cold, hard evidence. Neither he nor my parents. So unless I found some sort of proof, these relentless nights would never end. I stretched my body, tilted my head back, and closed my eyes just like I did every morning. I regulated my breathing, and I regained my senses. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. Let's go to school. Let's wait until they set their trap for me. But that didn't mean I was just going to twiddle my thumbs. I needed to avoid that trap and secure irrefutable evidence. Take note of the plates of any car that drives by. If I see someone suspicious, check their clothes and face. I wasn't just protecting myself, I was preparing myself to turn their attack against them and retaliate. The tension was similar to when two samurai were both aiming to slay each other with a single motion as they drew their katanas. I was not at a disadvantage. I would have a chance to retaliate. I finally felt a bit of courage growing in my chest. All right, let's go to school. I tightened my grip on Satoshi's bat. He was the only partner I could count on. Satoshi, please lend me your strength. And entrust your dying regrets to me, since you were probably murdered. I'll make sure I dispel them. With renewed resolve, I checked the clock. It was still early. Of course I was going to school by myself today. If I didn't want to run into Rena or Mion, I needed to leave now. The shattered fragments of the cupboard were still strewn all over the entryway. Right, I meant to clean that up last night, but never got around to it with the phone call and everything. If my parents came back and saw this while I was at school, I would never hear the end of it. Still, I'd be wasting time if I cleaned it up right now. And considering what would happen if I ran into Rena or Mion, it wouldn't be too late to clean it up after I got back home. Making extra certain that the doors were locked, I left the house. My uniform was still covered in mud from yesterday, so I left it in the washer. Today I was going to go to school in a tracksuit. Oops. By wearing a different outfit this morning, my mind was forced to accept that today was different from yesterday. I had a hunch. Today might be the day I get killed. Keep your guard up, Keiichi Maebara. The only one who gets to decide if today is my last is me.
I don't quite think that's how it works, but you know, all right.
I guess. I spent the morning practicing my swing like it was my natural routine. After a while, Rena arrived at school. Our eyes met, but we said nothing. Rena said nothing about last night, as if it never happened. But I could see that those events were real by the wounds carved into her fingers. I just heard her telling Satoko and the others that the bandages were from hurting herself in the kitchen, though it wasn't like it bothered me. The details that Oishi-san shared about Rena's incident before her transfer played vividly in my mind. Now that I knew about it, I couldn't even dream of Rena as a cute, ideal girl. Kei-chan, I see you're still aiming for the nationals. It was Mion. I'd already sensed her approached, so I wasn't that surprised.
Oh, Mion. If you understand, then leave me alone. I'm busy practicing.
I gave her a curt reply without my usual jokes. Then I gave the bat an even larger swing, tacitly keeping Mion from getting any closer. Hey, Kei-chan, take it easy. I think Mion got the message, but she still urged me to give it a rest.
Homeroom's not that far off, is it? Just let me keep practicing.
I swung the bat even harder as a sign of my refusal. Kei-chan, when did you get into baseball?
Just recently.
Recently? You mean yesterday?
Don't ask if you already know.
Oh dear, that's a very unsportsmanlike reply.
You're distracting me. Go away.
I ignored Mion and kept swinging. Normally she'd get mad or bored and leave if someone gave her the cold shoulder like this. But Mion just stood there, waiting patiently for me to stop swinging. I didn't sense any hostility. We were at school in plain view. I doubt she'd suddenly attack me here. Or was that too naive? Still, I was starting to get tired. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad to take a break and hear her out.
You need me for something, right? What is it?
Sweat poured from me as I stopped swinging. I noticed my shoulders were heaving as I breathed. I cursed my lack of exercise. At this rate, I might not be able to move as needed when the time came. I should probably keep practicing my swings to build stamina in addition to the excuse for carrying the bat around with me. Well, it's nothing important. If you're tired, I can ask again later.
No, it's fine.
I'm only dealing with you right now because I judge the situation to be safe. Talking to you alone and away from the others, that's out of the question. Well, Mion wasn't characteristically trying to choose her words. But unlike Oishi-san, it didn't look like she was going to talk about something I'd rather not hear. Mion was puzzled, trying to find the right thing to say. But then she gave me a hearty laugh to break herself out of that mire. This old man's just no good at this stuff. Having a poor vocabulary hurts.
What's this all of a sudden? If you have something to say, just say it.
Stop it. Stop that swinging. She cut straight to the point. Her request was so frank I didn't understand it for a moment. I'd already stopped swinging to listen to her, hadn't I?
I just stopped, didn't I?
That's not what I meant. I want today to be the last day you swing that bat. I'm sorry. It took me some time to understand what she was asking for. What's wrong with swinging a bat?
Why? It's none of your business, is it? I'm not bothering anyone, am I?
You are. Mian said it flat out. This didn't make any sense. That was really irritating.
When did I bother anyone?
Mian was at a loss for words, but she finally made up her mind and spoke, though she stuttered as she said it. Because, Kei-chan, that's someone else's bat. You shouldn't borrow it without permission.
It's left behind by a student who transferred, right? I'm just borrowing it until he comes back for it.
Huh? Ah. Yeah, he transferred. Mian grew uncharacteristically flustered. That made it all too clear that his transfer was a lie.
It's strange, isn't it? For the older brother to transfer by himself while his little sister stayed behind.
Mian couldn't hide a reaction as my words shook her up. Kei-chan, you knew?
Satoshi Hojo. Satoko's older brother, right? The one demoned away last year.
Unable to respond to that, Mian fell silent.
Ren asked the same thing. Why did you start swinging that bat? She told me Satoshi did the same thing. Practicing his swings. Right before he went missing. So, is this some kind of omen for Oyashiro-sama's curse?
Shh! Mian panicked and looked around. Please, Kei-chan, don't mention Oyashiro-sama so recklessly. I don't believe in him, but the others very much do. Rena especially.
Dangerously so?
Anyway, you're scaring everyone. If you're just fooling around, then stop it. You have to stop acting like Satoshi. I was the one who was scared. Who do I have to thank for taking up this bat in the first place? But it still unsettled me knowing that my actions were overlapping with Satoshi's. It would be one thing if someone suggested it, but I thought I was making my own decisions.
I'll say this now. I don't know anything about Satoshi. After all, you didn't tell me anything about him.
We didn't mean to hide it.
You were hiding the incidents that happen every year, weren't you?
That's because we didn't want to...
You didn't want to scare me? That's your reason for leaving me out?
No, we didn't mean to.
Mian, I asked you directly if something happened at the dam, didn't I? And you told me nothing happened. When someone was dismembered and murdered, you lied to me.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lie to you.
Friends don't hide things from each other, right? Isn't that right? Then you all aren't my friends.
Kei-chan, Mian looked helpless and flustered. Was I imagining the tears in her eyes? I never could have imagined Mian acting like this.
Oh, and by the way, those get well mochi you brought the other day, they were good. I thought I was going to bleed. Who did it? You or Rena?
Me. She admitted it so easily. I couldn't help but be surprised at how easy that was.
You could have killed me. How could you do that to a friend?
But it was just a little prank. Mian gave me a wry smile mixed with confusion, causing even more anger to well up inside me.
You think that was a prank?
I grabbed Mian by the collar and lifted her up. That wasn't the same as putting Tabasco sauce in a piece of mochi. It was a needle, a sewing needle. If I had swallowed that and it lodged in my throat, what did she think would happen? Mion's face froze as her body rattled in fear. This wasn't the Mion Sonozaki I knew anymore.
Anyways, you're not my friend. There's no reason for me to listen to someone who's not my friend. Just leave me alone for a while. Got it?
Mion wasn't replying anymore.
Won't be that easy to erase me, you know. The cops have been on to you from the start. So don't think you can make me disappear like you did Satoshi.
I said it clearly. This was my declaration of war.
I think you guys are suspects in the previous incidents, too. I know you've spent a lot of time with the cops ever since the anti-dam movement. Don't think you can hide it from me. Got that?
How did you know? Mion stood there with a dumbstruck look on her face. That was when I heard the principal ringing the bell for school. It was time for morning homeroom.
Let's go. Class representative needs to be there, right?
At that moment, for the first time, I realized Mion was sobbing as tears ran down her cheeks. You're so mean, Kichan.
Me.
I wanted to console her, but I shut my mouth. I had no need to feel guilty.
I'm going. Don't be late for homeroom.
I left Mion, still shaking, as I turned around to head for the entrance. I had no idea how troubling it was to make a girl cry. Behind my back, I could hear her muttering. It was a faint mutter as she was speaking to herself. So that's how it is.
Huh?
She wasn't saying it to anyone. It was Mion talking to herself. But it was a sobbing voice that had a kind of giddy cursing tone. I inadvertently stopped and turned back towards her. So it was the bastard. He leaked it all to Kei-chan. She balled up her fists as her tears continued to rain down. She glared at a spot at the ground with a terrifying yet smiling face, cursing. A chill ran down my spine from that demonic expression. This transformation, Mion's transformation, was different from Rena's. I should have killed him back then. He forgot the mercy I showed him just because he was going to retire this year. Retiring this year? Was she talking about Oishi-san? Damn it. Damn it. I'm going to kill that damn old man. Ugh! It felt like the air itself had begun distorting. With Mion at the center, the world had begun to twist and spiral. Bending, whirling. This was the first time I'd known, no, experienced such a visage. Rise! Attention! Mion made up an excuse for her red eyes by saying there was something wrong with her contacts. After that, neither Rena nor Mion spoke to me for the rest of the day. Neither Satoko nor Rika-chan looked at me in the eye. Strangely, I didn't feel hurt. Everything had just went back to the way it was. The months since I transferred in had been almost too much fun. That was all. School was supposed to be something like this to begin with. I should have disliked that feeling, but today it felt oddly refreshing. The bell rung, sounding the end of the monotonous school day, which had felt so tense yet so dull. Since it would cause a lot of unpleasant memories if they asked me to join in the club activities, I promptly started preparing to go home even without looking at them. I stuffed the contents of my desk into my bag, wrapped my hand around Satoshi's now familiar bat, and began heading towards the entrance. I was assailed by both the exhausting relief that nothing had happened today and the tiring possibility of the same thing repeating tomorrow. But deep down inside me, far beneath in the recesses of my heart, achingly, I knew this would be the last day of the cycle. I couldn't tell how the ending would be, whether it would end as I wished it to end, or if it would end as I hoped it wouldn't. Regardless, in my current state, there was something more important than how things would end. There was something I wanted to know. Why did I have to be killed? How did it come to this? Why? For what purpose? The sunlight was relentless. The sun, the heat, even the air. They wouldn't give me my answers. Or could it be that the cries of the Higurashi were desperately trying to tell me something? Somewhere, mixed in with their shrieks, Hot Photographer San and Satoshi were probably also trying to tell me something. I simply haven't been able to realize it yet. When I do realize it, I wonder if I will be among the Higurashi fruitlessly crying to the next victim. Glancing down at my feet, I saw a Higurashi on its back, spasming weakly. Bui, bui, bui. There was still much of the summer left, yet this one was already chirping its last song. I couldn't tell what it was saying, no matter how hard I listened. But I had to try. I had to try to listen to what it was desperately trying to tell me. At that moment, the shrills of the Higurashi ceased all at once, as if they had huddled together, fearing that the person who brought them to their dreadful fate had arrived. There was no mistaking it. A presence was approaching. The sound of the footsteps was almost non-existent. If the Higurashi hadn't warned me by ending their chirping, I wouldn't have noticed. My exhaustion left me in a heartbeat. In its place was a rush of adrenaline that sharpened all of my senses. I was just barely able to hold back that creeping, suffocating feeling of horror. It wasn't something I could hold back for long. But in this moment, when I needed to be razor sharp, I was able to retain my composure. I wasn't going to shout like I did yesterday. I hid myself calmly among the trees, waiting for my pursuer's shadow. Could I get them to pass by me? No. Since I was able to hear their footsteps, they were probably also able to hear mine. They might have already been able to tell that I'd hidden myself and was holding my breath. The person tailing me, was it Rena, just like yesterday? If it was Rena, I wouldn't hold back. I could just yell at her and make her go ahead like yesterday. If it wasn't Rena, it would depend on how they acted, I guess. The footsteps ambled closer. I swallowed, wiped my clammy hands on my pants, and readjusted the grip on the bat. I could tell that the fear that I'd beaten back once was now waiting for another opening to come at me. Who could it be? I peeked out from behind the tree at this person following me. My imagination hadn't led me astray. It was Rena. There was a bit of relief as I realized it was someone I knew, but that feeling left me in an instant. This wasn't the same Rena that I knew. Her eyes were dark and lifeless, but her mouth... Yeah.
It's crazy Rena, right?
Crazy Rena time! Woo!
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
But her mouth appeared as if it was carved into a crescent. Yes, it looked like she was grinning slightly. And in her right hand was an axe.
She's just getting that thing from the dumpster.
Totes, she is definitely not going to axe murder him.
Save us, Colonel Sanders. Oh.
She just wants to ask him a question.
Yep.
That was so bad.
Hid myself behind the tree once again and recalled the unbelievable sight I just saw. What was that just now? The embodiment of terror laid bare. Baseball, practicing my swing, there were tons of excuses for me to be carrying a bat. But for that axe? There was no excuse for that. An axe just like that?
Geichigun, are you playing hide and seek? I wonder.
My heart was pounding, hard enough that I had trouble breathing. What little composure I had been able to hold on to was now crushed. In its place, cold sweat gushed forth, covering my entire body, letting me know precisely what kind of emotion had taken hold. Not good, not good, not good. I wasn't able to hide myself completely. She already knew I was here.
Were you trying to scare me, I wonder?
I decided that it would be better to reveal myself now, since there was still space between us, than to allow Rena to come any closer. I adjusted my grip on the bat again, readied myself mentally, and stepped out from behind the tree.
I found you, Geichigun.
Rena was pleased that she found me, eliciting a mysterious giggle. Her mouth was smiling, but her eyes told me...
Mysterious giggle, you say?
Yeah. Her mouth was smiling, but her eyes told me that she was displeased by the fact that I had been hiding. Those eyes, they were just so empty. My legs began to quiver. Oh, not good. In the pit of my stomach, some sort of viscous, hot, and cold substance began spreading around. If I allowed it, that substance would slip into my bloodstream and undoubtedly freeze all the organs in my body. Not good, not good. I'll be devoured by Rena at this rate. Strike back. Don't lose. This is Keiichi.
Is it?
I blustered, hiding behind my bravado. But Rena didn't flinch one bit.
Just the same, Akechi-kun. I'm heading home.
Then what about that axe?
Then what about that bat you're holding?
I'm practicing my swing.
Then I'm treasure hunting.
Rena gave a flippant explanation as to why she had such a fearsome weapon.
Treasure hunting?
At the treasure mountain near the dam site, I found a new cute thing. So I needed this to take it out.
How could I believe that?
You would believe it, would you?
Rena's laugh was obviously very strange. I'd seen Rena's transformation many times before, but the one today was completely different. Like her mischievous tone and the shrewd glint in her eyes. It wasn't something that roundabout. I'm not sure what to say. It was just so obvious.
Wait, Keiichi-kun.
Rena didn't stop walking, even as she let out that eerie laugh. Whenever Rena got too close to me, I would scurry away and turn back towards her. This cycle repeated over and over. No matter how hard you looked at it, I was being chased by Rena and was trying to escape.
Don't follow me.
I can't do that. My house is this way after all.
When I met with Rena on this road yesterday, she cowered and trembled as she followed my commands. But today was different. Rena didn't show a hint of trepidation. Actually, wasn't I the one who was cowering? If the way home for Rena and me was the same, that's fine. I just changed my route. That'd work out, wouldn't it? I turned onto a side street I'd never been down, knew little about. But Rena saw me do that and followed me while laughing. Why? Why? Aren't you going home? Then just go home down the street like you normally do. Why would you follow me down this weird little side road? Those thoughts screamed in my head, eventually spilling out of my mouth.
Why are you following me?
The tone of my voice was already tinged with terror.
Because I want to talk to Keiichi-kun. Keiichi-kun wants to talk to Rena too, doesn't he? Doesn't he?
I don't want to talk to you about anything.
That's a lie, isn't it? There's something you want to ask me about, isn't there?
Not at all. I have nothing to talk to you about.
That's a lie, isn't it?
It's not a lie.
Lies!
Rena's scream echoed, startling some nearby birds into flight. I cringed in fear. The only thing that I could do was increase my pace.
Let's talk, Keiichi-kun. Talk. Talk.
Why was I running down this unfamiliar and deserted street?
Doesn't Keiichi-kun have something he's worried about?
Nothing at all. I'm not worried about anything.
Jeez.
Lies!
Even though I was running, even though Rena was walking, why wasn't I getting any farther away?
Is this Rena?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. I know. I really do know. You're scared, aren't you, Keiichi-kun?
I'm not scared. I'm not scared of anything.
Lies!
My breathing grew heavy and it felt like my legs were giving up from beneath me. Rena wasn't even breaking a sweat.
I feel like this is Rena, but Alice Is this?
I don't know.
I'll listen. This time I'll listen.
I had no idea what she was talking about or what exactly she wanted to do.
It's definitely Rena.
Yeah, Rena.
Oh, okay. This time I'll listen. It'll be different from the time with Satoshi-kun.
When she said Satoshi's name, I turned back for a moment. But even as I did that, Rena was still advancing. I couldn't afford to stop.
Satoshi-kun was worried too. It looked like he was having such a hard time. But I didn't listen. I was so sad.
Where did the street connect to? All these twists and turns, ups and downs. It was hard to believe that this was even remotely in the direction towards my house. That sense of direction had long since gone out the window.
I really regretted it when Satoshi-kun transferred out. I thought that if I had listened, he may not have transferred out. I really regretted that.
The road led me deeper into the forest. Wasn't I getting farther away from the village the more I ran? I lost more and more of my composure the more I thought about it. But despite this realization, my inner self was still disturbingly calm.
So you see, I vowed. I vowed that if there was someone struggling like Satoshi-kun did, I'd save them. I don't want anyone to transfer out again.
Damn it! What does transfer even mean? I won't let you transfer me. I won't end up the same as Satoshi.
Come on, Keiichi-kun. Talk to me. I'll be able to understand you, Keiichi-kun. I'm your ally.
I started wheezing, out of breath. My lungs were so hot that they felt like they were going to explode. My heart was beating as hard as it possibly could. I should have practiced running instead of my swing. I couldn't even afford to scoff at that stupid thought.
If Keiichi-kun doesn't have anything to worry about, he'll go back to normal. Everyone will be back to being friends, and we can enjoy club activities again. Next time, we'll team up, and beat Michan.
Yeah, how much fun that would be. Rena couldn't even imagine how much I had wished that I could go back to the clock on these past few days.
You could be nice to me again, too. I want to go searching for treasure again. This time I'll prepare a nice lunch. Actually, we could just go right now. Let's go up to the dam site together. I'll show you the cute thing I just found. I'm sure you like it too.
My footsteps made pathetic flapping sounds as my legs wobbled and faltered. Hot on my heels, Rena's steps were sharply breaking twigs underfoot. I had to accept it. I was on the run, being chased by Rena. If she caught me, it was all over. I realized it instinctively. I couldn't even begin to think of what the end would entail. Just that if I was caught, it was all over. That's all I knew. It didn't matter how it was going to end. I wouldn't let it end. Not without knowing anything. Not yet! That momentary lapse was all it took. Of all the things that could have happened, my knees buckled underneath me and I crumbled towards the ground. I tried to stand frantically, urging my legs to respond. I used my bat as a makeshift cane to prop myself up, but Rena was already standing right in front of me. Compared to me, out of breath and utterly exhausted, Rena was so cool and composed that she could have froze the air around her. She wasn't breathing hard at all. Rather, I couldn't even sense if her heart was beating.
Are you afraid of something, I wonder? Isn't that like you to tremble, Keiichi-kun?
Her expression looked almost affectionate. Those soulless eyes, that mask of affection. As she admonished me for trembling, Rena's hands deftly slipped over her head. The blur of arms as they moved made me feel as if I was staring at the godliness of the thousand-armed Buddha. Then as both of her hands met above her head, the axe that she had held came into focus. I stared up at it in disbelief. It was all I could do.
Tell me, what happened to Satoshi?
Rena stayed like that, with that axe raised above her head, and solemnly opened her mouth. It was as if she was expressing a farewell to a friend she was never to see again. That cruel scenario resided somewhere in her actions.
I told you. Satoshi-kun transferred out.
Enough of that transfer crap. Means demoned away, doesn't it? Doesn't it? You can tell me now, can't you? Who made Satoshi disappear? Was it you? Mion? Or someone in the village? Answer me!
I became frantic the more I screamed, but Rena did nothing to maintain the smile frozen on her face.
I have no idea what Keiichi-kun is talking about.
Then I'll say it in a way so you do. Who is the perpetrator of this chain of mysterious deaths?
You seem to be confused, Keiichi-kun.
What?
There is no human perpetrator. Everything is by Oyashiro-sama's will.
Isn't Oyashiro-sama's curse just superstition? You believe in that too?
It's not about believing or not. Oyashiro-sama exists. Period.
Rena's gaze grew even more gelid. Gelid? The ferocity of her stare was so intense, not allowing me to question anything.
There's just no way that something like Oyashiro-sama could exist.
You don't believe in Oyashiro-sama?
There's no way I could believe it. There's no way it could exist.
It exists. Oyashiro-sama exists. Keiichi-kun should have felt it personally.
I never felt something like that.
Keiichi-kun, have you felt someone apologizing to you before? Constantly on top of that?
All noise from the outside world disappeared. Only Rena's voice resounded, loudly and terribly.
You see, until you forgive them, they'll always be with you. At school, at home, at your bedside.
I couldn't understand what Rena was saying.
It came to me too. Oyashiro-sama did. That's why I transferred and came back to Hinamizawa.
I don't understand. I don't understand. What does transfer even mean? What was Rena saying?
Has it, Oyashiro-sama, come to you as well, Keiichi-kun? I'm probably the only one who you can confide in. I won't let you transfer out, okay?
Rena's demented laughter clanged around inside my head. Was Rena saying Oyashiro-sama came to her as well? That's right. Last night I had heard about that when I asked about Rena.
Please keep this confidential. Also, part of this may be speculation. Not all of it may be true. Are you still interested?
Oishi-sama began speaking.
Neither the victims nor the school filed a complaint, so there's no preliminary report. Basically, the police hadn't intervened in this matter. So all these details are just what I heard from those involved. Meaning it's not that credible. You said there were victims? Didn't Rena just break all the windows? No. Rena Ryugu had attacked 3 boys using a metal bat. 2 of them made it out with only bruises, but the other had been injured so badly that one of his eyes was permanently damaged. Wouldn't that be considered assault? Shouldn't the police have arrested her? For whatever reason, the victim never pressed charges. There was no report to the police, so...
They were beaten with a bat and suffered significant injuries. Normally there would be a criminal investigation, but why didn't they press charges?
I tried asking the 3 male victims for their side of the story, but they were all reluctant. It's hard to say, but they were all afraid, even after she had transferred schools. Oishi-san, could you summarize it starting from the beginning?
Rena hit people when she broke the windows? Or was it she started breaking the windows after she got bored of hitting people? They sounded similar, but the meanings were drastically different.
On an undisclosed date, Rena Ryugu was conversing with 3 male students, close friends of hers, near the pool storage shed. Who were those 3? I can't reveal their names, but they were close to Rena Ryugu, and it seems they were a group of friends. She was the lone girl in their group.
So it wasn't that strange that the 4 of them were together.
So what happened? I don't know the reason why. She took the baseball team's bat that was in the pool storage shed and beat the 3 of them down, one after the other. What?
There were no witnesses. This was an account pieced together by the information given at the time of the incident. One day after school, Rena and 3 male students were at the pool storage shed talking together. They weren't seeking help, rather, they usually met up there. It appears it became a heated discussion. At the time, Rena underwent change. The change was so abrupt that the 3 of them didn't comprehend what was happening. Then, taking the metal bat, she attacked her friends one after the other, leaving her friends covered in blood with gashes on their head. She made her way towards the school building. Then she broke the glass windows one after the other. A few minutes later, a teacher appeared on scene and subdued her.
What was this change Ren underwent? What matches up in the statements from the 3 was a sudden change. On the point that there was a transformation. Transformation.
I also could recall Rena's transformation. I'd seen that change many times before. It was so different from the usual Rena that I couldn't help but believe it was someone else who looked like Rena.
That transformation that they're talking about, had it happened before? No, there was nothing like that. As far as I could find out, in her medical history and past, there was nothing like that. Does that happen often? Where people change suddenly like Rena did? Of course it does. There are plenty of psychological phenomena that could cause something like that. Then you're saying there was a dormant element in Rena that caused that transformation? I can't say that for certain. But according to the statements of her friends, it's hard to believe she had such a side to her.
Kind, caring, and adorable. Even before she transferred here, she was probably pretty popular in school like she was now. That girl transforming suddenly and assaulting them with a bat. Who could imagine such a thing? Nobody could have seen it coming. I myself sometimes believe that I was mistaken for thinking that was Rena, even now.
Then what happened after that? There was a hospital right across from the school, so the 3 of them were carried in and treated quickly. What about Rena? What about the police? Why wasn't there a criminal investigation? You see, the police can't get involved unless they're called. Even though one was badly injured with permanent damage, why didn't they file charges? That's what caught my attention as well. Either some threat or pressure was placed on them, or they had a reason they couldn't file charges even if they wanted to. We're talking about you, after all. Of course you looked into it, didn't you? Well, yeah. But I told you at the beginning, didn't I? That the victims were all very reluctant to talk. They didn't want to touch on the matter. Or rather, they didn't want to be involved.
Reluctant to talk. Didn't want to touch it. Didn't want to be involved. It resembled the villagers here in Oishiro-sama's curse.
Did the teacher at that school tell you anything? A school is hallowed ground. You could say they tend to keep scandals under wraps. I didn't have a search warrant, so I had to tread lightly, you see. Then there was no comment from the school? No. They denied the incident even happened. It's just 3 male students were carried in for blunt force trauma that day. That's all there was in the hospital records. The victims didn't speak, the school denied it happened. Then you don't know anything at all. Yeah, I know nothing other than the incident itself had taken place. The victims also wished this incident to be kept from the public. So if you and I both forget about it, Maibara, then this incident will probably just fade away.
For a brief period, we sat in silence. At first glance, it looked like a simple assault case, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. The depths were obscured by rolling waves, sinking quietly into the void, as if it never existed to begin with.
After that, she was suspended by the school. During that time, she underwent psychiatric counseling. Did you hear anything from that doctor? Again, they were very professional in regards to their ethics, or at least very tight-lipped. Nothing even after you showed them your badge? Yeah, that's how therapy works.
Yeah.
I was told.
Keiichi's 14.
Yeah, he's probably never been to therapy. This is the 80s. I was told to get a warrant. The badge itself has no legally binding authority, after all. Then how did you know that Rena confessed that it was Oyashiro-sama who did it? There was a nurse I asked in that department. She agreed to help just from showing her my badge. Then what did she say?
Turns out the nurse hadn't heard everything. Apparently all that she remembered was what she overheard from inside that room.
The nurse said that at the time, Rena Ryugu was very calm and mild-mannered.
It was more like she was confessing her sins at church than a counseling session. She spoke with her mother there for some of it. Partway through, her mother was asked to leave, so it became a private counseling session between just the doctor and Rena for a while.
Part with Oyashiro-sama, when did that pop up? Partway through. She screamed the name suddenly. That startled the nurse. That's why she started listening in.
It was Oyashiro-sama!
Rena suddenly shouted that. I had no idea what was said before that, so I had no idea what the meaning behind it could have been. The doctor calmly and collectedly asked Rena to have a seat.
What is this Oyashiro-sama you speak of?
Gently, ever so gently. The fundamentals of counseling were believing what you were told.
Whoever abandons Hinamizawa will be hunted down by Oyashiro-sama. And they finally got into me.
That's the town you lived in before you moved here. Isn't that right, Ryugu-san?
I didn't want to move, but because of my mom and dad's circumstances, we had to, but Oyashiro-sama wouldn't allow it.
Ryugu-san must have lots of friends in Hinamizawa. Even now you must be missing them dearly, don't you think?
I want to go back. Back to Himamizawa. No, It's not that I want to go back.
Welcome back, Daniel.
I have to go back.
I should have gone back
I
much
should've-
sooner. Oh, sorry. That's still that.
You're good.
Uh,
I should have gone back so much sooner. But now it's too late. Oh, your Shiro-sama has come.
Oh, Yashiro-sama is the name of the god in Hinamizawa, isn't that right?
Everyone knows. It's Hinamizawa's guardian deity. And if you ever try banning Hinamizawa by leaving, you'll incur his wrath.
You had moved quite a while ago, didn't you? Then, it was just now that this god has arrived, is what you're saying?
You might not believe me, but Oyashiro-sama exists.
the nurse was then asked by another nurse to do something and left the room. That was all she remembered.
That it was Oyashiro-sama's doing, right? I do believe that there is that kind of superstition in Hinamizawa. That if you leave the village, you incur Oyashiro-sama's wrath. You should be familiar with this part, my bar.
I knew very well what those scorned by the village incurred. To hinder the dam construction project, they cursed the construction foreman to his death. Then the following year, Satoko's parents, supporters and leading advocates for the dam, were cursed to their death. But this was the first time I've heard of this curse incurring by leaving the village.
This is my first time hearing that. I can understand outside threats being cursed by the village, but why also villagers who leave? Normally, people who leave villages aren't supposed to be cursed, right?
I know it's a bit strange to say it, but I could see it as a rule that the people who come in are the ones who would be cursed. Far from Jupiter, far from this thunder, curses weren't something to chase after people that leave, were they? Oishi-san pondered for a bit over the other end of the receiver, then began speaking again.
Well, I told you long ago when Hinamizawa was called Onigafuji, didn't I?
I recalled hearing that. Long ago, Hinamizawa was feared and respected as the village of ogres.
The villagers at the foot of the mountains worshipped the ogres, so Onigafuji was hallowed ground that you could never enter. It came to be said that if you entered carelessly, you were cursed by Oyashiro-sama.
Those who set foot in Onigafuji, in other words, Hinamizawa, would be cursed. I could understand that.
I know that, but for leaving to also be no good, that's also the ogres, you see. They were being strictly watched by Oyashiro-sama, so they would not enter into our world. In other words, Oyashiro-sama probably restricted interaction between Onigafuji and the rest of the world.
I see. I finally understood what sort of thing Oyashiro-sama was.
So basically, Oyashiro-sama is more of like a warden than a protectorate deity, I guess? Trying to keep this place isolated from the rest of the world? I guess that's how it would seem. I'm sorry, I don't know very much myself. This is mostly what was passed on to me by my grandmother.
I could understand it a bit better if it was like that. Those who came to Hinamizawa would be cursed, and those who tried to leave would also be cursed. So, because Rena originally lived in Hinamizawa and moved away, she fulfilled the requirements for being cursed.
So that means, because Rena moved away against its wishes, she was cursed by Oyashiro-sama. Is that what it adds up to? Sure, that seems to be what it points to, I guess. As a matter of fact, soon afterwards they did move back to Hinamizawa after all.
Those who abandoned Hinamizawa and left were cursed. But then, why only Rena? Shouldn't Rena's parents also have been guilty of the same transgression by moving away and having been cursed? Also, in this day and age in Japan, shouldn't there be a lot of people coming and going? If every single one of them was cursed, then it'd be insane. But in reality, it wasn't that big of a deal at all. At most, there would be only one person dying and one disappearing on the day of the Wadanagashi. I didn't like saying at most, though.
Well, anyways, there's still a lot I don't know. Even if it was Oyashiro-sama's curse, doesn't add up as to why her classmates, the victims who were beaten with a metal bat, wouldn't press charges. You don't think the victims were cowering just because they believed that a terrible curse had befallen them, do you?
Of course, I didn't want to believe it. But more importantly, I had just realized something else. There was another bizarre connection that Ren had made between Oyashiro-sama's curse and metal bats. Satoshi fell victim to Oyashiro-sama's curse and went missing. I'd recently learned that Satoshi had also become infatuated with Metal Bat right before he disappeared, just like me. Then Ren as well. She was affected by Oyashiro-sama's curse. She confessed that much to the doctor. And the weapon which she had used at the time of that horrendous act was, again, a metal bat. And finally, me. I'd encountered various things that were inexplicable, and now I was holding onto a metal bat. I was shocked when I learned that Satoshi did the same thing. It couldn't be. Had the same thing happened to Rena? But there was one critical difference between her and Satoshi's case. That being, Satoshi went missing after falling victim to the curse, but Rena was still here. Both of them had fallen victim to Oyashiro-sama's curse, yet they were met with different endings. And finally, me. I couldn't call it a coincidence anymore. Rena, Satoshi, and finally, me. Could it be that I really was under Oyashiro-sama's curse right now? No, more importantly than that, what should I do now? Satoshi had been demoned away, vanishing without a trace. Rena was fine. Fine. Rena had undergone a change. I could only believe that there was something that wasn't Rena residing within her. And here, right now, it was standing before me.
Oh, right, we're still back here.
Mm-hmm.
Rena, please tell me, what'll happen to me?
Rena stood imposingly, not answering.
Satoshi disappeared, but Rena didn't disappear. So, what'll happen to me?
I had never heard such an unpleasant laugh before. You haven't heard the terrifying laugh of a mind flayer, Rena. It had become akin to the sound of her breathing. It was no longer a voice or an expression of feeling.
Don't worry. I'll save you.
Rena took one step forward, still holding the axe high above her head.
Now then.
One step closer, Rena's face spread out to fill my vision.
Speak.
One step closer. Rena's nose was close enough to touch mine and was still pushing closer.
There's something you want to say, isn't there? I'll listen. I'll save you. Okay? Speak, okay? Speak, okay?
I slumped down, landing squarely on my butt. It wasn't for some pathetic reason. It was all I could do to get as far away from Rena. I had the gut feeling that I couldn't let her laughter end, because when that laughing ended, the moment I picked up on that feeling, my body moved by instinct. I sprang to my feet so fast, even I couldn't believe it, and pushed Rena away with both hands. Rena was as light as a feather. Thrown about by the unbalanced weight of the axe, she was sent backwards as if she'd been carried off by the wind. After confirming that, out of the corner of my eye, I dashed off at full speed. I was the perfect picture of fleeing like a greased pig. Get away from Rena. Run away. Survive! I couldn't think of anything other than this. While I was running, I remembered I'd been holding onto a bat the entire time. Such a worthless weapon. I couldn't believe I'd forgotten about this weapon at such an important time. I sped even farther down the winding path. I didn't even feel myself gasping for breath or my legs getting heavy. My body understood it as well. If I didn't run away from here, I wouldn't live. I could hear the laughter of that simulacrum of Rena coming from behind me. It rang through the trees and in my head and slowly chiseled away my sanity. The grove of trees thinned out, my field of vision suddenly expanding. Where was this? For a moment, I was bewildered by the scenery I felt I knew but couldn't quite remember. I quickly realized it was the damn site. That damn site!
Goddamn sight.
The fact that I dashed madly and ended up in a place like this gave me a bad feeling, like I was following someone's scripted plot. Oh. Hey! Whoa, following someone's scripted plot. Hi, Kelly! Thank you so much for the raid. How was your stream? You doing stuff? Hi, everybody. Mel Havoc, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. Hi, raiders. Oh, sorry, let me turn this off for a second. How's your musics? Hi, friends. Welcome. Glad to have you. Hi, my name is Flint, if you don't know me. I'm a musician like Kelly, but she is fucking amazing. I do Dungeons and Dragons streams weekly. I do VR chat roleplay as well fairly recently, and I do things like this, which is visual novel voice acting with my friends. Jopus, hi, how you doing? Gloopy! I am also a singer, yes, Watsumi. I do actually bardic songs on Tuesday night sometime for my bard characters in VR chat. Yeah, it's a manga dio. Hell yeah. So yes, thank you all so very much for the follows. Holy shit, what does it mean, Ninja? Thank you so much for the follow. It's Lalani. Lalani. Thank you very much. Authiran, thank you very much for the follow. You all are the bestest. I hope the music went amazing tonight, Kelly. I've been loving hearing the stuff that you've been making. Yes, for anyone coming in, ever screamed your ass off trying to do a Percival Witcher song? No, luckily not. I'm terrified of like screaming and singing because I'm terrible at it. Possibly a Time Lord, but still not sure though. Yeah. Seriously, Kelly, you're fucking amazing. Thank you so much, friend. If you need to go get food or get water or get rest, please do. I absolutely appreciate the hell out of you. You take all these.
Yo.
Jenner!
You got a gift, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Got a gift.
Oh, so I gotta do Begone Bot for a second. There we go. Yee. Aw, you all are the best. Thank you very, very much for stopping by. So yeah, if you don't know, we're currently playing... it's strange to say playing, because this isn't really a game of sense. It's a sound novel called Higurashi When They Cry. So basically there isn't any choices to make. It's basically we're reading through a story. My friends David and Kayla are here to help me do some voices, and we're kind of reading through this as we go along. We're almost at the end of the first arc, called the Demon Dewey arc. Yes. So this is the original sound novel of the story. Yes, it's called Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 1, Onikakushi. It's kind of like a text adventure, except for, like, again, there's no choices to make. Hi, Tommy. So yeah, it's mostly reading the story. Oh, sorry.
And the protagonist who we're playing as is going absolutely fucking insane right
Oh
now.
yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
absolutely insane.
So yeah, if you don't know anything about this and you do want to eventually do the story, understand we're towards the end and there will be spoilers most probably, even though you might not understand what's going on. But also, like we show up in the corner, trigger warning, there's violence, disturbing imagery, some creepy stuff going on in this game. So if you don't like any of that, I completely understand if you want to pop out. And if you don't want to be spoiled, feel free to jump out.
We're not
I understand.
at the end. We're at the end of the first arc. There's still
the first
plenty
arc.
to go.
As far as I know,
There's 7 more arcs to go.
yeah, there are 8 arcs of this thing, so 8 different games.
We're almost about an eighth of the way. You missed much, but you haven't missed that much in the long run.
Yeah. It's kind of like Doki Doki Literature Club, except for obviously there are no choices to make. There's no kind of like gameplay in it. It's really just like, this is a story. We're kind of doing voice acting with it right now to kind of like give it extra creep factor. But yeah, so just to let you know, I know the story of this. At least I've watched it before, so I can't be spoiled, but David and Kayla are completely unspoiled to this game right now, so please no spoilers if you know it. I'm keeping shh on it. Otherwise, yeah, let's keep going and be creepy. I get to be narrator, which is why I had my narrator voice on.
Hell yeah, narrate the shit out of this one.
I'm trying. My heart was already on the verge of busting. The muscles in my legs were screaming, but I didn't care. Oh. Emo, Pyron, Necrosis. Yes, I'm narrating in the moment. I also play Mion and Satoko, while Kayla and David do other characters in this. And we've been kind of, since there's so much narration, we've been kind of every time
chapter.
we've streamed this, yeah, like every chapter and stuff like that, we've been trying to trade off narration.
So otherwise, it's just one person doing everything.
Yeah. So today is my day for narration on this chapter. If I stopped here, then they might not even be able to scream for much longer. Even still, I glanced back, looking for an excuse to rest. Rena wasn't there. Instead, I saw 2 villagers walking around. You guys came in like right after we had a really freaking creepy mentioned interaction with Rena. My drow voice. It's the narrator cup. I breathed a sigh of relief that it wasn't Rena, but a third party. Except the voice inside me rang the alarm once again. Villagers walking around weren't suspicious in and of themselves, but it bothered me. They both wore rough-looking clothes. Empty-handed, they definitely gave the impression that they were just out for a walk. But at this time of day, 2 adults wandering around without a purpose, it was enough to raise questions. So yeah, basically, we just had an interaction with our classmate who was also being really scary and had an axe and was basically chasing us for a while and trying to get us to talk to her.
I wasn't chasing you. I was just going, home.
Yes, going home. So we ran the fuck away from her, and now we're stuck at the damn site where murders occurred.
That damn murder site.
That damn site. Mad Curse, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. Glad to have you. But more than anything else, those eyes. Human Power Necrosis, thank you. Thank you for the follow. Yandere sense defense mechanism. Yeah, right? Oh, yeah. Yandere's up the wazoo in this game. But more than anything else, those eyes. They weren't chit-chatting while walking. They were both silent, heading forward, looking in my direction. Was I at the end of my rope and had finally started imagining things? I should run away. That was probably the best choice. If they weren't involved, I'd lose them easily by running. If they were part of the group after me, then they would come running after me. Either way, unless I hurried up, Rena would catch up with me. That's right. I was going to run. Deciding that, the moment I began to turn tail, both of them rushed towards me as if they knew exactly what I was thinking. Somewhere inside me, I jumped to the conclusion that Rena was the only thing I needed to be afraid of. I made the assumption that I didn't need fear or anything else. But right now, I realized just how blatantly wrong I was. Suddenly, the story Oishi-san told me about the demons all living in the village to hunt prey floating through the back of my mind. Oh God, Mirai Nikki. Oh no, it can be as bad. It can be as bad. I could tell that they were both coming after me without even turning around because of their frenetic footsteps.
Mirai Nikki was kind of tame compared to what I imagine is about to happen in this fucking game.
Possibly.
Where's Mariah Nikki from?
Future Diary.
Yeah, Mirai Nikki Future Diary.
It's a thoroughly mediocre anime.
Which I did not tell you about, David.
I know.
It was frightening, being unable to shake Rena off as she slowly closed in on me. But this didn't even compare. Being pursued with such violent ferocity, the straightforward horror was unparalleled. One of the pursuers' arms grazed my shoulder. Now it wasn't just their frenzied footsteps, but also the distinct sound of the breathing that I could hear. No, I could practically feel them breathing on me. They were already right behind me. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. Still running at full tilt, I felt the surrounding area go still. No, it felt like time itself had stopped. I turned my head back slightly in that frozen world, realizing how close my pursuers had gotten to me. I couldn't win against the legs of an adult. In less than the time it would take to blink twice, when this frozen time began moving again, they'd be right on top of me. On top of me, and then... Don't think about that, Keiichi. First, realize that you won't be able to shake them off like this. If the fact that you can't get away was a given, then you need to make a decision. Go with the right leg or go with the left. You just need to decide which one. Let's go with the left. The moment I decided that, the temporal singularity burst into pieces. Right, left. I swung the bat in a wide arc with my right arm, using that inertia, and stopped and suddenly spun.
What?
The two of them were clearly startled, momentarily losing sight of me, both of their outstretched arms ready to grab me, instead grasped at empty space. The man on the right, I applaud him being able to figure it out, spun around to the spot I shouldn't have been, and faced me in astonishment. But it was too late. I didn't even need to swing my bat. All I needed to do was extend my arms as I turned around. It was by no means a heavy blow, but it seemed like it had enough power behind it to knock him off his feet. But just knocking him down wasn't enough to scare him away. He got back up in no time. Both of them took a fighting stance and were ready to face me. This made me certain they weren't just two people out for a walk. They were clearly after me. It felt much easier than dealing with Rena. Just by not recognizing their faces, by not knowing them, it made things easier. I smiled wryly on the inside.
What do you want with me? Next one is gonna be right in your face, you bastard.
It's fine if it was just a bluff. By barking out at them, I was able to fire myself up. They didn't respond. They spread out to either side of me with unbelievably calm expressions on their faces. One of them would grab onto my bat and the other would hold me down. Was that their plan? Taking on both of them at once would be impossible. Hot sweat poured from every pore in my body. Then I'd just have to settle it with the first move. I'd step in and strike the first one down. Narrowing my target down to the man on the right who had already been knocked down before, I stepped in and swung with all my might. Yes, go after the one you have an advantage on from being prone.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
That's just good D&D combat. Keiichi's a nerd.
Hell yeah. Good tactics.
There was no way for an unarmed person to guard against it. It would cause immense damage. If they blocked it with their arm, their bone would snap like a twig. They turned their back to it, then it was possible that the blow would travel all the way to their vital organs. It looked like he was aware of this. He pushed farther through the kill zone between us and delivered a fist right into my gut. Not good. With this distance, in this position, and in this state, there was no way for me to dodge it. Ow. Damn!
Damn.
The world flipped
You
upside
just
down.
got rocked.
Yeah. Rocked you like a fucking hurricane. I understood that I was being tossed around like a rag doll. I landed on the soft earth without a sound, feeling the grainy soil press against my face. Yes, fist. Damn. It didn't hurt at all. But the moment I thought that, I suddenly felt pain coming from abrasions on my skin, as well as the contents of my stomach being forced upwards, flooding my mouth with a bitter sensation. Ew. I knew very well that I didn't have time to relish this experience. I stood up as quickly as I could.
Want to?
At that moment, the other man was already barreling towards me. Like, barf rainbows, barf. Oh yeah, it did sound kind of like a gunshot. Yeah, the sound effects in this are kind of weird sometimes. Like the bat sounds were kind of weird too.
Yeah.
Being able to comprehend calmly that I simply couldn't dodge it made it all the more upsetting. After plowing into my stomach full force once again, my assailant twisted around behind me and locked his thick arm around my neck. My throat felt like it was being crushed by his immense strength. I couldn't even contemplate that I was being strangled, or that I was about to go unconscious. My vision simply darkened, and a silent, whining noise began playing deep inside my mind. It took everything I had to keep myself from blacking out. While this was happening, the other man was more than likely standing in front of me. I wasn't able to open my eyes, but I could feel that he was there. There was nothing I could do now. Unable to shake this arm off me, I couldn't run. I couldn't fight back. Dire straits. I couldn't even come up with the phrase that adequately described my situation. Okay. Game.
Interesting.
Story. Okay. Okay.
The brightness is changing.
Oh shit.
We good.
We're not totally fucked.
Woo.
Probably.
Well, it hasn't frozen, at least.
Okay.
Are we back at home?
Interesting. Yeah, this looks like home. Yep, it's home.
A familiar ceiling. The smell of the bed and pillows, I knew them well. Was this my room? Normally there wouldn't be anyone in my room besides me, but the presence made me spring wide awake. When I did that, pain shot throughout my entire body.
Feeling alright? I think you better lie down for a bit.
I'm sorry. Did he just get beaten up by a couple of random dudes, and then they took him home and dropped him in his bed?
Apparently.
Yep. Why was Ren in my room? Oh yeah, these are like 14-year-olds.
Yeah, they're young.
Yeah, they're young. Don't even.
Yeah, right. Blood began to surge through my muscles and my capillaries. This is the one we were running from before because she was scary as fuck.
Yeah, she had an axe and was raising it above her head while standing in front of us.
With creepy
Totally not
smiling
about to murder us.
She has creepy dead eyes sometimes.
Yeah.
Also, if you know, okay, so these are, hold on, chat. So if you haven't seen this before,
Yeah.
this game is old. These are updated graphics for the characters. If you want to see the original one, because this game was originally done by exactly one person, all of it, including the art. So the original sprite for her was this. This is the original Rena. I'm so glad they updated the art.
Me too.
Let me get.
Thank goodness. I don't know if I could do
Right?
it if there wasn't updated. I'm sorry.
Instead, we just get to swap back and forth and
And creep people
Make
out.
fun of the original, yes.
Yeah, right. But
I know it's very scary, Ninja. Very scary.
yeah, this is normal Rena for us now. Rena's smile belonged to the Rena I knew well. I knew I shouldn't let myself feel this way, but I relaxed thinking that this version of Rena was safe.
why am I?
Don't you remember?
After losing consciousness, nothing at all.
My body had become more lethargic as I could have ever imagined. I guess that would be the expected outcome after exerting everything I had back there. I tried to at least clear my head, but I just couldn't shake the sluggish feeling out of my mind.
I called the doctor. He should be here soon. I think you better just lie down until then.
I wasn't injured seriously enough to merit calling a doctor, but knowing that someone impartial was coming was slightly reassuring.
Oh, Keiichi, you
Poor
poor naive
Keiichi.
bastard. Why am I here? I'm sure I was at the damn site.
That damn sight.
That damn site!
Yeah. If Rena was staying over my bed too, I'd be fucking terrified.
That's what I wanted to know. What happened? When I got there, Kichikun was already passed out.
That's why I'm the one who wants to know. I was attacked by two weirdos.
As I talked about it, I finally remembered what happened right before I passed out. Recalling that memory and the terror that went along with it caused the fogginess around my head to clear right up. Let's forget about those two for now. I didn't expect Rena to be nursing me. I thought Rena was trying to kill me. She would have had the perfect chance while I was unconscious. Not only did she not kill me, she'd nursed me back to health.
Amazing you could drag me all the way back here. Wasn't I heavy?
Looking at Rena's delicate frame, it was hard to believe that she had not only gotten me back home, but even dragged me all the way up to the second floor. Did she have some help?
Don't you remember, Kichikun?
Yeah, Stephen King probably would have been interested in this story. Rena appeared a bit surprised, but still kept her smile.
I only propped you up on my shoulder. You said you could walk on your own and that you were fine. You don't remember?
I didn't remember. My memory was fuzzy after that point where I lost consciousness.
What about those two? Okay.
When
The
Huh?
When you got there, Rena, the ones with me, or rather, those two guys.
there wasn't anyone.
She said it bluntly. The way she stated it felt slightly unpleasant. I was just too timid at that time. I might have been able to force some answers out of Rena. But if I did that, then this kind Rena might transform into the scary Rena who I didn't know. Fearing that, I didn't press any further. Thinking about it, it was the obvious choice. If both of those men were there, I don't think Rena would have even stood a chance. I couldn't find a way to explain it unless I assumed she brought me here after those two were already gone. Rena was still smiling. Her eyes sparkled warmly. Yet, I felt like I was hallucinating when I saw something akin to a shadow slowly creeping across her face. That small omen sent shivers down my spine. While Rena was still Rena, I needed to make contact. I needed to contact Oishi-san. Rena stopped me when I tried to get out of bed. She said it would aggravate my wounds, so I should sleep. Hey, Oso, how's you doing?
I'd like to go to the bathroom, though.
Sorry.
Rena couldn't say anything else. While Rena stayed in the room, I quickly went downstairs to get the phone receiver in the living room. When I approached the front door, the doorbell rang. Ding dong! It must have been the doctor Rena had called. It was strange for a patient to welcome in the doctor who was making a house call. But it would be incredibly reassuring to have him here for the considerable time it would take Oishi-san to get here. I carelessly opened the door with that simple assumption and regretted it almost instantly. Oh.
Yawn?
Oh, you look just fine. I heard you collapsed, so I came to check on you.
How did you know I collapsed?
I heard from Rena over the phone. Do I need any reason other than that? I understood why she would call a doctor. But why Neon too? Rena was descending the stairs behind me. Rena, doesn't Kei-chan look pretty alright? She made me worry for nothing.
That's true. Maybe I worried for nothing as well.
They both began laughing. It appeared to be cheerful laughter, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was darkness looming over them. Whoa, what's up with this shoe rack? How did it get like this? The shoe rack that I'd smashed to pieces had been like that since yesterday.
I fell, you see. And the bat I was holding at the time just slammed into it.
This is what happens when you swing around something that you're not used to handling. I kept the fact that it was none of her business to myself.
But leaving it like this will really startle your parents when they get home. I'll fix it up for you later.
No, come on, Kei-chan. The terminally ill need their rest. Come on, come. Back in bed, back in bed. Both of them urged me up the stairs. I had no choice to call Oishi-san, or no chance to call Oishi-san. Perfectly innocent. I was pushed into my bed, perfectly innocently. As it was the first time Mion had been in my room, she began searching around it intently. She fiddled around my room and was scolded by Rena. You can imagine how it went. Yes, terminally ill. Dun, dun, dun.
Da-da-da.
It was uncomfortable having my room poked around, but the conversation was so benign that it was heartwarming. During that innocent conversation, Mion said something as though it was perfectly ordinary. Rena, did you call the manager?
Yep, right after I call Mi-chan. He said he'd be right over.
Manager? That out-of-place word gave me a bad feeling. Rena called a doctor, then called Mion. And after that, she called a manager? Who was this manager? Since Ren and Mion's conversation was so peaceful, it only felt slightly odd.
What are you two talking about? Who's this manager?
Did you know, Kei-chan? We mean the manager when we say manager.
Like the director of a movie. Or like a foreman of a construction site.
Oh boy.
Cool boy.
I dug through all my memories for a manager who might have business with me. Only one thing came to mind. What Ren had just said. The construction site foreman. The very first victim of the first incident. The dismemberment at the damn construction site. The damn construction site! The foreman?
Damn site!
But that was strange. He was supposed to be dead. There was no way that they could call him.
Oh, that sounds like quitter talk to me. I don't understand what you guys are talking about. What does that manager have to do with me?
Hold on, I need the good stuff.
What do you mean the good stuff?
Wine.
Ah.
There we go.
Said he was coming. Did you mean to my house?
I asked one obvious question after another, but all the two of them did was smile coolly at each other. There was a huge difference between how the two of them appeared and how my suspicions were playing out. Slowly, I felt discomfort and panic welling up inside me. Oh, you weren't here for the original chapters of this game. It got awkward very quickly, and you could tell that it was written by one Japanese man in the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Be glad you missed it. Be glad.
Yep.
There will probably be more, don't worry.
Mion talks like an old Japanese man. As a joke.
Yes. They make jokes about whipping it out in the first chapter.
Mm-hmm.
About Keiichi just whipping it out in front of all of them.
Yep. Couldn't understand what Ren and Mion were talking about. Kei-chan, you've gotten into baseball lately, haven't you? Pretty sure the manager will be happy to hear that.
So who's this manager?
The manager is the manager.
That doesn't answer anything. So who is this manager?
Ren and Mion looked at each other and laughed haughtily. That disturbing cackle unpleasantly resounded around me. That laugh, long enough to be unsettling, ended abruptly.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, we should finish up before the manager comes. You remember, don't you, Kei-chan? Her face was laughing, but Mion's eyes told a different story.
Remember what?
Rena. Oops.
Oh, Kayla just left for a second.
Okay, I got it. Keiichi-kun, had you forgotten, I wonder? About the penalty. About the penalty.
I think this is
No,
Mion.
yeah. Did you really forget the homework with the mochi? The homework where you were supposed to guess which one Rena made. You forgot about that homework, didn't you? I certainly did have that homework, but I'd thrown away the rest of the mochi after I found that sewing needle in it. So I wasn't able to answer which one Rena made. The penalty for that? Why now? No doubt my question was written all over my face. Their answer to my question was that dry laughter. I could no longer make heads or tails of anything. I began to think that this entire day was somehow insane. Strange, incomprehensible, being chased by Rena, attacked by strange men, the penalty me and Rena were talking about. Wait, what were those two laughing at? It didn't take it that long for me to realize I had been dragged into an abnormal situation. Who were these two? Oh yeah, he found a sewing needle inside of a piece of mochi when he was trying to eat it. Luckily didn't actually eat it. Who were these people? Who were these doppelgangers of Rena and Neon? Rena had gotten behind me at some point. There's the creepy eyes.
Oh, he's gonna die.
Why was she pinning
It's
my arms behind my back?
time. What are you doing?
Don't move. This is your penalty. My body was already very sluggish, and Rena pinning my arms made it that much harder to move. I seriously tried to struggle, but she wouldn't even budge. No. Fuck. Oh, well, I'm fucked. My panic began to well up, and I realized this was well beyond the realm of jokes and pleasantries. Hey, shut up! I just had wine. This freakishly monstrous strength, it would have been impossible for the Rena that I knew. Then these thin, frail arms grasping me firmly. Whose arms were they?
K-chan, no struggling. Club rules, there are no exceptions. You can't fight against the penalty.
Mion. No, that thing that looked like Mion spoke to me like how Mion would speak to me. But I was certain that this was not Mion. Someone who wasn't Mion. Someone who was just pretending to be Mion.
Need to finish this up before the manager comes.
Mion fished into her pockets and pulled out something bizarre. I could tell what it was just by looking, but for such a thing to be in her pocket, my mind wouldn't accept it.
What is that?
No, Bible Black, no! It was a small syringe. It was a small, clear syringe, like what a doctor would use when you went to him when you were sick. Ren held me even tighter, and I could hear that clattering laughter that no longer sounded like laughter blaring into my ear. That eerie laughter. It wasn't something that the Rena that I knew could ever produce from her own throat. This thing that was pretending to be Rena, was this the real laugh? Unable to defend myself, the syringe Mion was holding drew closer. And that needle tip was waved in front of my face countless times.
Don't worry. It won't hurt.
What are you planning on doing? What kind of sick joke is this?
What are you saying, K-chan? You know exactly what's going on, don't you?
About what? I don't understand any of this at all.
Big fucking mood. Yes.
Big mood, big mood.
Is that the COVID vaccine everyone needs? Right? I wonder.
Yes.
I know you know. No, he's playing the fool this late in the game.
Stop talking nonsense to try and confuse me.
I'm already confused.
You're going to have done to you what happened to Hot Photographer San.
Oh God.
No. What?
The same as Hot Photographer San. I really didn't understand what she meant.
Yeah,
Don't question it, Ninja. Don't question it.
yeah.
He's a photographer who's hot.
Yeah, his
What
sprite
else
was
needs
very
to be
ripped.
said?
His sprite had like a 10-pack. But he was a photographer holding a camera.
He was very hot.
He was swole. So we just call him Hot Photographer San. Right?
What'd that have to do with the syringe?
Oh, Rena.
You're playing dumb, Keiichi-kun. You should have realized it by now.
Rena whispered into my ear, laughing as if to admonish me. But even the way she spoke was repulsive beyond compare. Playing dumb? Me? About what? What do you mean the same as Hot Photographer San?
Everyone thought at first it was just a hit and run. Except when the officer got closer to check if he was still alive, he soon noticed it wasn't a normal situation. His throat was scratched out.
From a knife or something?
No. Nails.
Nails? Nails as in fingernails? With those gouged through? That's right. Photographer-san had clawed out his own throat with his own nails and died. There's no way someone could die like that. So then, for that to happen...
We thought drugs were to blame, but nothing of that nature was detected.
This might be Oishi.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took me a second. It's hard to tell who's talking in this game because they don't have, like, the name next to things. That's right. The police didn't find any drugs in Hot Photographer-san's system.
Police told me they didn't find any drugs in his body.
What?
What is that?
Oh, the two of them laughed together with that sickening laughter.
That's a laugh?
I guess so. Of course they'd laugh. To assume that such a medicine didn't exist just because the police didn't know about it was completely foolish. Meaning the drug that caused Hot Photographer-san to die in such a bizarre manner did exist? If Mion injected this into me, then that would probably be all the proof I needed. That would basically mean I'd end up the same as Hot Photographer-san. Become hysterical, scratching at my own throat in my last moments, and then die. For such an outrageous drug to exist. For Mion to be holding it. And that I was about to be injected with it. At that moment, I did not feel that there was any need whatsoever to question it. What kind of idiot, when he's trying to dodge a ball flying straight for his face, has time to think of a reason as to why it's flying at him? Just give up, all right then? Mion's actions lacked any gravitas, and that made it even more terrifying. There was none of the ceremony like when someone is sentenced to death. There was no hesitation at all, as if she were brushing her teeth. Mion reached out with one hand and grabbed onto my chest. It felt like electricity had run through the back of my head and the entire world had gone dark. Did I stand up too fast? Or did someone hit me really hard in the back of the head? Having lost my sense of balance, I was assaulted by a wave of dizziness. Whew. This is fine. Everything is fine. Everything's not fine. Oh, shit.
Oh shit, that's chapter end.
Is it chapter end or is it like chapter halfway?
I don't know.
I think it's chapter halfway. We haven't had a chapter halfway yet.
I squatted down for a bit. When I came back to my senses, my entire room had changed drastically. The numbness in my head was gone, and slowly, I could tell blood was flowing to my extremities again. Actually, I could probably quick save and...
Oh yeah, we should really save. We've been going for almost 2 hours.
Okay. Numbness in my head was gone, and slowly I could tell blood was flowing to my extremities again. How long had I been squatting here? How many minutes? Or has it been hours? It was almost as if the hands on the clock had stopped moving the entire time my eyes were closed. That's how little time passed. Really? The air in the room wasn't filled with that madness from before, only a dull silence. Rena wasn't there pinning my arms, and Mion wasn't there about to inject me with a needle. No way. Could it be? All of it was hallucination? There was no other presence in the room besides my own. It was the weirdest experience I'd ever had. I was certainly with Rena and Mion. I doubted my sanity for a moment, but I was also seized with some sort of comfort. I guess that terrible ordeal was hallucination. Neither Rena nor Mion, they would never do something so terrible. My head grew hot. I could tell my emotions were welling up. Why? That wasn't a reason to cry. Why? It was sorrow. Why was I sad? I don't understand. I don't understand. Kind to everyone, not discriminating against age or gender. Mion. that Mian was sprawled by the window in an unnatural pose. Blood stained her a deep red from her head down to her chest. The bright crimson smeared on the walls, that splatter had undoubtedly come from Mian. She always had that bright smile and was kind to me from the day I transferred. Rena. The same Rena was slumped at my feet and was making the same pool of blood as Mian. I couldn't comprehend what had happened. Did someone come to save me? Then they beat these two down with this metal bat? I finally noticed the weight in my right hand. How long had it been there? It was Satoshi's metal bat. It was covered in a deep red. There was no doubt that this was the weapon used to mutilate both of them. And I was holding that weapon. I was the only person in the house.
I
Did not expect this. Yes, I agree.
Looking at this objectively, I couldn't think of anyone other than myself who could have done it.
did this?
Oh man, I would love a Paranoid Agent crossover. That was a really good show. That's right. Keiichi Maebara. Of course I did it. I told myself gently, as if coaxing myself. Hey, me. There is no reason for you to remember it, nor is there a need to regret it. Eat or be eaten. You get that, don't you?
But the blood. Blood. There's so much.
Neither Rena nor Mian had moved an inch. It wasn't just a split forehead and a trickle of blood, nothing that simple. The entire room was splattered with red, and that told me it didn't end with just 2 or 3 strikes.
Are they dead? Both of them?
Your friend can't even watch that because of censorship? Oh, damn. The depths of my mind were calm, but on the surface I was panicked and agitated. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. What happened to your usual calm self? Come on now. Do like you always do. Throw your head back and take a deep breath. Come on. Once, twice. Breathe deeply. Calm down. Calm down. I chanted that over and over in my head and relaxed. Color came back to my vision and smells reinfused the air. At the same time, I remembered what happened when I blacked out. Ren and Mian had attacked me. They were about to inject me with whatever caused the same symptoms as Hot Photographer's son. But right before that happened, I fought back. I twisted my whole body and threw Rena as she was pinning my arms. Then I followed through with my spin and rammed my foot so hard as I could into Mian's torso. It was soft. Rena tried jumping on me, so I tackled her as hard as I could and slammed her against the wall. I didn't let that brief moment of having them off balance slip by. Satoshi's bat that was left carelessly by the side of my desk. At that moment, everything went pitch black. There was nothing recorded past this point in the videotape in my mind. No, that wasn't right. It wasn't that there was nothing recorded. It was recorded just fine. Just the other me inside myself had told me not to look at it and had turned off the TV. Just because the screen had gone black and I couldn't see it didn't mean that the videotape within me hadn't recorded it. The TV was just off. The video was still playing. The tape within me, creaking along, still playing. On the other end of that pitch black screen, that horrifying video was still playing on. Compared to this, though, this, the scene right before my eyes, was still so difficult to take in. There's blood splattered everywhere on the walls, the two of them in these unnatural poses. Not a sign of movement from them. I couldn't even tell if they were breathing. No matter what the circumstances were, my friends, these girls, I'd attacked them. I may have even killed them. But if I hadn't done this, I would have been the one done for. Balancing that out in an imaginary scale, it felt odd that I'd even felt bad about it. Even if it was a bit excessive, this was justifiably self-defense. The proof was all here. The two of them collapsed here in Mion's syringe. Mion's syringe filled with some unknown drug that would certainly solve the mystery surrounding the incident with Hot Photographer-san. And from the fact that both of these two were involved, they'd be able to pick out the criminals one after the other. Still, I might be suspected for this, but that was just fine. Anyway, now this should be a police affair. This wouldn't fade into the darkness like Rena's past incidents. As long as the police were involved, that should bring this to a close. Hot Dogger-san, what? What? They'll probably revisit the investigation on the chain of events. Oishi-san would definitely get to the bottom of it. Meaning my wish of not wanting to die, of wanting to know the truth, that it would be fulfilled in its most basic form. It was all a matter of time now. The Dr. Rena called should be getting here soon. I'll confess everything to him. I needed to contact Oishi-san. At that moment, I remembered. Besides the doctor, a manager had been called. It was easy to imagine that they were someone deeply involved with the incidents, judging from Rena and Mion's conversation. The ache in my chest, caused by the gruesome deed I'd done, dissipated rapidly. It was not over yet. This place was no longer safe. Stay calm, Keiichi Maebara. It's not over yet. I needed to live long enough to tell the police of this incident. At that moment, I felt like I'd heard someone's voice from outside. Since people were speaking, it must mean there was more than one person. I moved the curtain ever so slightly and peered outside. It was a bizarre sight. About 4 or 5 grown men were all gathered at the gate. They very much resembled the 2 men who had assaulted me at the dam site today. Those 2 might even be among them. There was one person there wearing a white coat, but he didn't look like a doctor at all. My gut told me he was in disguise, only posing as a doctor. That guy would probably ring the bell and get me to open the front door, pretend to be a doctor to get me open the door, and then the rest of them would all rush in at once. At that moment, I saw the car parked behind the men, and my heart nearly skipped a beat. The white van! No mistaking it. That van, the one that had tried to run me down? The man in the white coat entered the gate and headed towards the front door. The rest of the men hid in the bushes and watched him. I probably couldn't pretend that I wasn't home. Undoubtedly, they just break the window and enter. I need to get out of here somehow. Then use a public phone to contact Oishi-san. Then meet up somewhere. First of all, I need a weapon. Then shoes. But before all that, there was one thing that I had to do. I had no intention of dying. I'd live and reveal the truth about this nonsensical curse of Oishiro-sama. But what would happen from here on, regardless of how determined I was, may bring about my demise. And that was why. There's one thing more important than getting out of here right now. I needed to get that clock out quickly and take down the note hidden behind it. Damn it! The tape was sticking to it fast. It'd be fine if it was torn a little. I opened up the slightly torn note and began writing another passage with the ballpoint pen. If I wasn't able
to information this time?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
If I wasn't able to inform Oishi-san, then the only thing I could rely on was this note. I'd never thought a piece of torn, college-ruled notebook paper could be this reliable before.
It's not.
I had no time. I'd only write what I knew right away. I needed to leave this sort of information that would lead them to uncover the truth. Rena and Mion are conspirators of the perpetrators. This was an undeniable fact. I still didn't want to believe it, but it was a fact. Anyway, I'd leave all the information that would help them to finding the perpetrators. There are 4 or 5 adults, maybe more. They have a white van. This was everything I was able to see from the window. There may be more. Also, there was that unidentified person known as the manager. To begin with, the term manager didn't even mesh with Hinamizawa at all. If they were going to include the managers from the past incidents, then the only one is the construction foreman, the victim from the first murder. The very first victim in the chain of incidents. Killed in a lynching, his body divided into 6 pieces. His right arm was never discovered. The police should have confirmed that death. But Rena and Mion did both call him manager. They said manager. They wouldn't use that term to refer to someone who was dead. The police would never even conceive that someone who was deceased could be involved. Could that be some sort of oversight? I didn't know. But even if I didn't know, it could be a big hint for Oishi-san. That's right. They needed to start fresh from the first incident. It wasn't just a simple dismemberment, but the start of the string of mysterious deaths that would follow. So then, there must be something hidden there.
Please reinvestigate the victim from the dismemberment incident. He's alive.
His death should have been established after an autopsy. Logically, you would think as much. But was that really the case? Could it have been some sort of ploy that they were able to deceive the police with? I shouldn't jump to conclusions, but he may still be alive. I had no time to ponder that right now. Oh, yeah. There's something even more important I need to write.
Hot Photographer Zone's death was from an unknown drug.
That's right. That drug. It was an irreplaceable piece of evidence. No doubt, just by having this, everything would be uncovered. I couldn't just leave that vital clue lying on the floor.
This syringe is proof.
Writing that down, I stuck the syringe onto the back of the clock with plenty of tape. So it absolutely would not slip out and fall to the floor. Firmly. Firmly! Oh yeah, this is... I've never seen Twin Peaks, but I'm pretty sure it's this kind of like fucked up shit, from what I've heard of it. The bell rang. They were here. I couldn't write anymore. But even still, there was one last thing that I had to write.
I have no idea why it has become like this.
This may be the closest thing to the truth out of everything I wrote in this note.
If you are reading this, then I am probably already dead. Though you may or may not find my body.
If I was going to write out everything that could happen, either dying from the curse or being demoned away.
You who are reading this, please uncover the truth. That is my only desire.
Yes, rip Hot Photographer Son, F's in chat. He died for our sins.
He died for a lot of people's sins, it seems like.
Yep. With this, my last will and testament was complete. It wasn't certain that I was going to die. But it was my final plea, just in case. I folded the note, stuck it back into the back spot of the clock, and returned the clock back to its usual spot. I couldn't help but pray. Oishi-san, if something happens to me, I leave the rest to you. After that, I gazed down silently at Rena and Mion. This was probably the last time we'd ever see each other. Rena, Mion.
I really had thought all of us were friends.
But why did it end up like this? I never had any fun in my previous school. I only worried about standardized test scores, about if the school I had hoped to get into was where I really wanted to go or a safety net. That was all I talked about. It was a dull life. The people I called friends were also my rivals in studying, in competitions and personal records and standardized test scores. Everyone here taught me how unhealthy that lifestyle was. This month was really fun. Making a fuss over lunch, making a fuss over the club, making a fuss over the festival. Something hot began dripping from my face. Uncontrollable tears. I should have had no obligation to shed tears for them. But they wouldn't stop. Even if they were after my life. Even if they were trying to kill me. Everything that happened this month, I wouldn't forget it. Or could it be those happy days were all a facade as well? Was it all a trap, meticulously orchestrated up until today to ensnare me? Could it have been that I had just arbitrarily assumed that these were my friends? That couldn't have been the case. With Rena and Mion, they really were my friends. Those happy days, there was nothing fake or unclear about them. Someone probably forced them to try to kill me. Or their minds were taken over, possessed by the supernatural entity known as Oishiro-sama. Regardless, both Rena and Mion, they were the best friends ever. And when they were coming after me, it wasn't of their own volition. Wait, they weren't the kind of people to sell off their friends, regardless of whether or not they were forced. There's no way such a thing like being possessed by Oishiro-sama could happen in reality. Then, did the real Rena and Mion come after me? What was I thinking? What a silly, dumb idea. Having beaten down both Rena and Mion, I was still debating if they were the real ones or fakes. There was no real or fake, only the reality that was before me. Rena and Mion were sprawled out at my feet. That was the only truth. I was only trying to twist the facts to my benefit. Had I beaten my friends to death? No matter how I spun it, it wouldn't change reality. Rena and Mion were both dead. It felt like there was a crack in the dam of strange emotions I was holding back. It felt like my calm state, which was nothing more than a bluff, had receded. And in that opening, insanity was leaking out. Oop, I need to refresh my drink. Thank you, Dark Lord. I actually need that right now.
Since when are they dead? He never checked.
Well, I mean, there's blood everywhere. They're not moving.
Have you seen, like, almost any, crime scene investigations TV show?
That's true.
At the time, there's not all this blood, but there's, like, no damage.
He's 14. I killed them. Rena and Mion. I killed them. The doorbell rang again. The unrelenting echo pulled me back into a state of composure once again. I didn't have a moment to spare. Quickly, I needed to get away. I didn't want to die. I would uncover everything after that. The identity of whoever or whatever had pushed me this far. Even if I had to drink mud and eat grass, I would survive. I would definitely survive. I killed Rena for that very reason. I also killed Mion. I went that far just to keep living. So I can't die. For my sake, and for the sake of the late Rena and Mion. I have to survive. I ran towards the door and grabbed my shoes. The doorbell rang again as if to urge me on. Behind the single, solitary door, they were there. Keeping quiet, I headed towards the kitchen. Headed towards the back door. Before opening the back door, I put my ear to it and checked for people outside. No one? After I put on my shoes, I opened the door slowly so as not to make a sound.
There he is! The back door!
A piercing voice echoed out. That voice stabbed through me, setting my hair on end. I had to run. Get out of here, Keiichi! One after the other, I felt stuff like rationale and intelligence, those things that you use when you have time to spare, spill out of me. I didn't feel any pain from the branches scratching my arms and forehead. My autonomously pulsing heart also felt neither fatigue nor pain. My entire being just wished to live. There was nothing else it desired. It probably had no complaints whatsoever. So of course I wouldn't feel fatigue. I just ran. Just recklessly rushing in the direction I was already heading. Even if nobody was chasing after me, I'd still be running like this. There wasn't a thought in my mind about where I was headed. Turning around, I felt a presence right behind me. The presence was, without a doubt, chasing me like my shadow. If I took even one misstep, I would be devoured. That's what I thought. So I didn't turn around. I didn't stop. I ran at full speed. That was the chirping of the Higurashi telling me it was evening, trying to tell me something, and then I finally heard it. The wailing cry of the victims who didn't make it. Would I be joining them? That. Only the Higurashi knew. They knew everything. They definitely knew. So I ran towards where I could hear more of the Higurashi's chirps. But the farther I ran, the farther away the chirping became. I couldn't get near them. Why are you all running away? Was it my fault? Was I the one to blame? Then I'll apologize. I'm sorry. 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 I felt that only the Higurashi knew.
Someone's a little cursed.
Well,
Well, I thought he was going to get murdered by all of them. I did not expect this.
Agreed.
Ooh, we got another Chivo.
chased by
We were
shadows.
chased by shadows.
The smoking room was filled with this cloud of cigarette smoke. The expensive smoke filter gave off some crackling electric noise, but it didn't seem like it was doing anything at all. Why do smokers have to be shoved so far down this corridor where the sun didn't even reach? I recalled hearing that the tax revenue from tobacco was about 1/10 of the municipality's revenue. We were the most heavily taxed members of this municipality, so I really wish they'd show us a little more respect. I guess this is Oishi.
Why would you discard the 5 manzu there? It's just decreasing your options.
One of the younger detectives was having a staring contest with a mahjong magazine called Next Turn.
You're still in Tenpai if you cut the 5 manzu.
You want the other one, Kayla?
Yes, I do. If you're betting on Haite, then shouldn't you be going with a Mangan?
Kuma-chan, look at the pond. They all discarded a 5 manzu. It's a safe tile. You'd hate if at endgame someone was sitting on a Tenpai on the last turn, wouldn't you?
The kid let out another groan, put out a cigarette, and then took another one.
I just don't agree. Why would you reduce your own options?
Yeah, this is Oishi-san they were talking about.
By the way, you can't call Ron with your winning tile in that Haite. I don't know what any of this means.
Yeah,
What? Why is that?
I've played mahjong, but I don't know any of the terms for it.
Same.
I know nothing about Mahjong.
It's a fun game. Really fun.
I enjoy it. Just then, I heard a voice coming from down the hall. I haven't played like actual mahjong. I played like virtual mahjong. That's it.
Are you here, Oishi-san? You have a call from a civilian. Whoa, ain't that something? Well, see you soon.
Why can't you call Ron on it? Hold on for a second, Oishi-san.
The man sitting in the seat Oishi-san was heading towards waved at the telephone receiver.
Outside line from a payphone. Oh, I thank you. Sorry to keep you waiting. This is Oishi. Who is it? Ah, Oishi-san? Hello? If it isn't my Bara. Why, good evening.
From the tone Maibara-kun's voice, I already knew he was in a predicament. This is
So
the first.
you answer with good evening?
This is the first time Maibara-kun had phoned me, and he was calling from a payphone.
Please calm down. Did something happen?
His voice was erratic over the line. He had completely lost his sense of composure. After checking that nobody else could hear, I prompted him in a hushed tone.
What happened? Calm down, my Bara-san. I can have the local officers head to your location. I'll be there soon, too. I think that's impossible.
His voice was quivering and hoarse. He wasn't surrounded by people even as he was making the call, was he?
My Bara, you're calling from a payphone right now, right?
Good evening? Oh fuck, we're all dead! Pork chop sandwiches, get the fuck out!
Where is that payphone?
There were no other sounds besides Maibara-kun's voice. It had to be a phone booth. I scratched out a note and thrust it at my colleague sitting across from me. Hinamizawa, phone booth. He understood quickly and hastily started on the internal lines.
Calm down, my Bara. What is your current situation?
It usually wasn't a good idea to tell someone panicking to do so, but this was not a usual case. Maibara-kun just didn't get in trouble, get away, and then call me. He was in the midst of something dangerous right now. But yelling at Maibara-kun right now would just needlessly cause him to be even more frantic. Maibara-kun wasn't just calling to seek help. No. Hey, how'd the mission go, Ryo? He was trying to tell us something more than that. And whatever that was, if I didn't get it from this call, I was certain there would never be another chance. Lots of injuries? Well, shit. Work it out. My colleague pushed
Put a
note.
band-aid on it.
That's why you got healers.
Walk it off.
That wasn't a C rank mission. It did not feel like it. Oh no. Well, I mean, most people in the guild are C rank.
Ah, the classic Naruto thing. Yes, let's go on our first C rank. Oh god, that was an A rank.
Oh no.
Great job telling the main points. 14-year-old women pointy objects, beating them, running, and cry. Yep. Felt like a BRA. Oh shit. Did everybody survive at least?
Classic Naruto run. Classic Naruto run.
I assume everyone survived at least.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we all alive. That's good. My colleague pushed a note in front of me. There's only one booth in Hinamizawa. A patrol car is on the way. My god. 5 minutes.
That's too long. How many officers are in there?
2. Not enough. If it was as I imagined, there were likely quite a few people surrounding my bar-kun. 5 minutes was too long.
Did you call the officer stationed in Hinamizawa? He's scheduled to be on patrol. They're currently out and it'll be impossible to contact them. God damn. Kuma, bring the car around.
Understood!
Hello? Oishi-san? Hello. It's all right. I can hear you loud and clear.
There was something wrong with my bar-kun. That wasn't a normal coughing sound. Vomiting? Or was it blood? Had he already been attacked? Was he injured?
My bara, the police are on their way. They'll be there in a couple of minutes, so hold on somehow. Hello? Can you hear me? My bara!
I could hear on the other end of the line that he was having a coughing fit. The worst possible situation popped into my head.
My bara, who is the culprit? How many are there? I thought at first the culprit was human.
I couldn't tell if that was a cough or vomiting.
Are you all right, my bara? I thought that the culprit was a person and not Oyashiro-sama's curse. Up until right now. But I guess in the end...
Just don't fucking kill yourself, David. Jeez.
I'm fine.
That gives me some PTSD. Jeez. It was an intense bout of coughing. Then vomiting.
But I guess Oyashiro-sama does exist. No, he's here. My bara, please just calm down. I've been thinking it was strange for a while now. It's been following me this whole time. I run and run and run and run. But it just sticks to me like my shadow. But slowly, so slowly, it's digging itself into my back. My bara, are they right now? Perhaps right behind you? Behind me. Right behind me. Please, my bara. I can tell you're scared. But please, who is it that's right behind you? I can't just look behind me. If I do, I can understand that you're scared. But please tell me. You just need to turn around a bit. Who is it? Who is behind you, my bara?
Right after I said that, I could hear him vomiting intensely. What followed was a nightmarish sound.
My bara, couldn't be that you're clawing out your own throat?
There was no answer, but I could hear something like scratching. There was a bang, as if something was being hit. My Barakun had probably dropped the receiver. I could hear groaning and vomiting over the other end, and a repeating abnormal noise.
Hello? Hello? My Bara! Hello?
I knew how far away my voice would sound on the other end, but I couldn't help but shout. At that moment, I heard whispering coming from the other end. I couldn't tell what he was saying. From the way he was saying it, he was talking to himself? Or was he talking to someone there?
Hello? My Bara, son?
Rather than whispering, it was some kind of mantra he was chanting over and over. I focused my senses, trying to pick up what he was saying. What was he repeating? What exactly? Beep! Suddenly, the line went dead. Did he use up his time? It was because it was a payphone. It was because it cut out so abruptly. The last thing he said came out so clearly in my mind.
Oishi-san, the car's good to go. Oishi-san? It was... I'm sorry. Oishi-san?
That's what he was repeating over and over. He said, I'm sorry. I had a gut feeling. There was no longer a need to hurry. I could hear the chirp of the Higurashi spilling in front of the open window. I should have been able to hear them this entire time. I just wasn't paying attention. Why did I focus on them all of a sudden? Quick, 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 quick. Were they trying to tell me something? Only the Higurashi knew. That's how I felt. July 1983. In Hinamizawa, a remote village near Shishibone City, there was a murder involving 2 female students. The suspect is Keiichi Maibara. The suspect called over to his 2 female classmates, ran a Ryugu, Miyonso Nozaki, to his house and beat them to death with a metal bat. The scene of the crime was the suspect's room on the 2nd floor of his house. The inside of the room was covered with a significant quantity of splattered blood, and there were signs of a struggle with the victims. In addition to the scene of the crime, the entryway, living room, and kitchen all had traces of a struggle. At the entryway, the shoe rack and wall had evidence of being impacted by a strong, blunt force. It is believed to have been the same bat as the murder weapon. Having no traces of blood, it is believed the destruction occurred before the murders. There is a possibility that the suspect overpowered his victims to keep them from fleeing. In the living room, the rug had been pulled back, then thrown aside. It is hard to believe that this had a connection to the struggle with the victims, and thus the reason for this remains unknown. In the kitchen, the garbage bag was torn apart, and its contents were spread out on the floor. Garbage was strewn about in the surrounding area, and handprints were believed to belong to the suspect were discovered. It is believed that the suspect had, for some reason, taken out the garbage and struck it with his fists. The reason for this remains unknown. In addition, there was a note stuck to the fridge. The words, "Was there a needle?" were written on it. The meaning behind this remains unclear. Just in case, the garbage was searched, but a needle was not discovered. Though the garage door was functional, it had been left open ever since the suspect moved in. The garage door was found closed. The suspect's fingerprints were discovered on the garage door. The reason behind this remains unknown. The suspect fled the scene of the crime. However, a patrolling officer, Hinamizawa Local PD, found the suspect collapsed inside a phone booth. At the time of discovery, the suspect was unconscious in critical condition. He was rushed to the local hospital for treatment, but did not regain consciousness and died 24 hours later. The results of the autopsy indicate the immediate cause of death to have been hypovolemic shock. It was determined that the suspect had clawed at his own throat with his fingernails, and the resulting bleeding caused his death. With a similarity to the death of Hot Photographer Son the prior week, the police believe there to be a connection and have opened an investigation. However, due to the wishes of the local authorities, it will be a confidential investigation. Due to the abnormal nature of the death, it was suspected that the drugs were involved, but as with Hot Photographer Son, no traces were discovered. What prompted all this remains inexplicable. As such, this case is being treated as an act committed on impulse. However, with several accounts of the suspect's bizarre behavior leading up to the incident, it is possible that this was premeditated. Separated from his group of friends, isolation, inexplicable behavior. Several days before the incident, the suspect began carrying around a metal bat. The suspect was observed displaying aggressive behavior, as well as talk to himself at school. His classmates actually heard portions of what he was saying. 2 days before the incident, the suspect declared to his parents the possibility of his death. Due to these circumstances, the police have begun an investigation on the possibility that this crime was not committed on an impulse, but was instead planned several days in advance. It's too fast. Afterwards, a note was found in the suspect's room that he had written himself. The note was written on 2 sheets of a B5 college-ruled notebook that each had been torn in half. As if trying to conceal it, was stuck hidden behind a clock on the wall. The contents are as written in the appendix. The police believe it to be strongly related to the incident. The police changed their line of investigation based on the possibility that the suspect was involved in some sort of incident himself. However, no further clues were found, casting doubt on the credibility of the note. Was the crime impulsive or premeditated? With the situation unclear and no further developments, the case has been labeled as unsolved. However, the following year, suspicion arose regarding the nature of the note. The note was not written on 2 halves of B5 paper from 2 separate sheets, but was originally a single sheet of B5 paper. In order to erase several lines from the middle, someone had torn them out. Judging from the size of the letters, the missing section is estimated to be 2-3 lines. It's highly probable that the person who eliminated the lines in question is not the suspect. In addition, judging from the traces of large quantities of cellophane tape being stuck to the back of the clock, the speculation... God damn it! Stop being so fast! Person she went involved quick dice involvement and damages to the note. Suspect's note. Wait, let me... Addition judging the first so other than the note was stuck there, it had arisen. Voluntary question. Suspect's note. I, Keiichi Marabara, am in fear for my life. I do not know why they're after my life. The only thing I do know is that it has to do with Oyashiro Soma's curse. Ren and Mion are conspirators of the perpetrators. There are 4 or 5 adults, maybe more. They have a white van. This is all on the first sheet. Everything below this has been ripped out. I have no idea why it has become like this. If you're reading this, then I'm probably already dead, though the only difference may be the presence or lack of a body. You who are reading this, please uncover the truth. That is my only desire. Keiichi Maibara.
Oh, syringe and all the details for the syringe are missing.
Yeah, the syringe shit. Oh, shit. Boom, motherfuckers, we did it!
All that just to kill off the 3 main characters.
Oh, shit. Hot damn. Achievement unlocked. Please uncover the truth. Damn.
Well, we will.
We did it, y'all. We got through the first, Hey! Rycon, thank you so much for the host. How's it going? Hot damn. Let me... Can I save? Oh, I guess technically... I guess not, because, I mean, we got through it. What's in the extras? Chapter jump, tips. All cast review session.
All cast review session.
What is that?
I think it's the epilogue that gives us, like...
Oh!
Oh, that's cute.
Cute.
Thank you for buying Higurashi When They Cry, Oh, I can never say this. Onikakushi, a visual novel by the 7th expansion. How was it? If you enjoyed it even a little bit, it'll be making me happy.
Even a little bit is stretching it. That incredibly dark ending made me angry, you know?
Made us angry. As I understand it, this Onikakushi chapter is supposed to be somewhat of a prologue to the entire series.
Yay.
How could the prologue have such an incredibly dark ending?
Yeah, but doesn't that happen sometimes? The player digging through the story in order to avoid a bad ending is the point of these types of games, after all.
It's still just the first chapter. I'm looking forward to the next one.
What happens in the next chapter? Rena, do you know?
Yeah, they said the next chapter will introduce another aspect of the story.
That's a strange way of putting it. What does that mean?
In this chapter, they introduced the string of mysterious deaths that were happening in Hinamizawa recently, right? The next chapter will introduce some of the history of Hinamizawa.
With one strange event happening after another, I totally got lost. What exactly is Oyashiro-sama's curse about? Actually, what is Oyashiro-sama to begin with? They didn't explain it much.
I haven't heard much about it, but I have got a bad feeling about it.
Heh.
It feels like it will be another one of those scary stories where someone gets cursed again.
Tough luck, eh, Kei-chan? What kind of curse is he gonna get hit with this time?
However, I look forward to seeing what kind of story it's going to be.
Sorry for being late. My bad, my bad.
Gimme! Hi, thank you so much for the raid.
Everybody. Good work today.
It's Hot Photographer Son! We found Hot Photographer Son! Look at
Photographer has returned.
How was your stream, Kimmy? How you doing? Thank you very much. Hi, friends. Hope you had fun with Kimmy. I hope your stream went well. Get all the rest and whatnot you need while we look at Hot Photographer Son with his massive swole biceps.
You see why we call him Hot Photographer Son now, Ninja?
Yeah, right. We just finished.
Photographer.
We just finished the first arc.
Yeah.
So now we get to see like the afterword from the cast about the game, and we even have some time to start the next arc. Same to you. Huh? Where's Kei-chan?
Keiichi-kun is already off reading the script for the next chapter.
Kamalika's Lily Star. Aw, adorbs! Yay! Man, everybody's officially having kids now. Or like getting adopted, I guess. Kamalika got adopted. Ari got adopted by Nikolai. Ryesh picked up another stray from the Lotus. People are trying to look after Callie. It's yeah, so many people are getting adopted in VR chat. It's one of those weeks. Must be hard being the main character. Yeah, it's very true.
Huh, that's too bad. You could have at least poked in to say hello.
Yeah.
It probably because he doesn't have any character art, so he couldn't poke his head in even if he wanted to.
Oh fuck! Oh fuck!
Excellent.
Thanks, Kimmy. Go get all the rest to get some food, whatever you need. I'll see you later. Thank you again for the raid. And yes, please go check out Kimmy. Damn it! I need to not. I can type. I know what I'm doing.
Can you, Flint?
Normally. Maybe not with a roll in my hand. But oh, and also from before. I mean, I know everyone basically already knows Kelly, but yeah. Okay.
Is this me? I mean,
No, that's
which
Oishi.
me?
Rika, that's what we refer to as a personal problem. In any case, that story really was a lot of trouble, especially for Keiichi and Rena.
Trouble? That was the mother of all bad ends.
Accurate.
I wonder, what was the identity of that thing that attacked Keiichi-kun?
My theory is that it was the work of people made to look like a curse.
But at the end, Keiichi made that phone call.
Yeah. I also thought that call was strange. At that point, Kei-chan should have been certain that the culprits were people.
That really was a strange phone call. It almost sounded like he was being chased by a ghost or something.
Just from that phone call, it really makes me think that it was the work of a curse after all.
Since we're all here, why don't we all share our theories? Let's start with Sonozaki.
I absolutely believe it was people. I think it was a man-made incident that was just imitating the strange folklore floating around Hinamizawa.
Certainly. Every year on the day of the festival, for another link in the chain of a mysterious death to happen, it certainly is suspicious.
That so-called chain of mysterious deaths is definitely somebody trying to reenact the folklore. Definitely.
I think that it was a curse. Looking at the scene where Keiichi-san went berserk in the entryway, and that last scene with the phone call, I just couldn't come up with a conclusion that a person was the culprit.
When you say it that way, it really wasn't the type of scene that would make you think it was the work of an actual person.
Pardon me as a joke for a moment.
Yeah, but even then, I still think it was a person who did it. That last scene and the one with the entryway, I think it might have been a delusional episode brought about by post-traumatic stress disorder.
Can we all agree that David's hot photographer voice is the most ridiculous shit in this game?
No, it's not the most ridiculous. It is the best part of the game. I have no idea what you're on.
Why not
I mean,
both?
I can always go back to adding fucking goofy voices.
That is the most ridiculous flip.
Okay, fine,
Yarsh!
fine.
I wouldn't know what's going on anymore.
Shit.
I wouldn't know what's going on anymore even if you didn't use such complicated words.
In other words, Keiichi was so scared that he was imagining things.
Then, what was the meaning behind that scene? What exactly was that mysterious presence behind Keiichi?
A red herring. Redherring.
Mi-chan, what do you mean by red herring?
Like old man photographer here said, that scene was the result of Kei-chan having a stress-induced delusion from being mentally cornered. To expand on that a bit further was a ploy to make the player think it was accursed. That's why it was a red herring.
Well, when you say it like that, but...
Well, it just means that there's that possibility.
In that case, the theory that Oishi-san proposed during the story that it was conspiracy by the villagers was correct? What does the man himself have to say about that?
Me? Makes you think, eh? Huh? I totally thought that Oishi-san would be behind the people explanation. During the story, I said it was definitely the work of people. But if a person really was to blame, that leaves a lot of loose ends.
Like what? Let's hear what Detective Oishi-san's theory is.
First of all, if a human is the culprit, then there has to be a motive. In other words, somebody has to gain something from it.
So what you mean is, if this was the work of people, there would have been something gained from causing the chain of mysterious deaths?
Exactly. I felt that somebody could have benefited from the deaths of people related to the dam development. But the recent victims weren't related to that at all. First off, who benefits from killing Keiichi-kun? I see. If you say it like that, my case is kind of weak too.
I mean, none of your money was stolen. There's no way it was human culprits.
But that's not everything there is to it, right? Like Mishan just said, there might have been some sort of reason for them to reenact the folklore.
Exactly. This wasn't a murder where you consider the typical motives. It makes me think that this was most likely some sort of ritualistic murder to reenact the blood-stained history of the village.
So
So I'll
Sorry.
ask the question of the hour. Who gains from this reenactment?
it's not about simple benefit. I think it was a more psychological reason. I think that maybe this was an act of revenge, something native to the region. Fate was unable to be fooled this time around. I see. A member of some repressed family looking to air out a old grudge of their ancestors. Something like that? I don't like that.
Then what is it? It couldn't be that you're leaning towards a curse explanation, Oishi-san. That's right. The man playing the detective said so. It's decided it was a curse.
If, like how my bar said during the story, it was the case that Oyashiro-sama possessed Rena-san and Sonozaki-san and committed those crimes, that would fit the evidence the most. As much as I hate to say it.
Actually, I'm of the same opinion as Oishi-san. I can't come with any other explanation for the normally kind Rana and Michan to suddenly start acting strange like that.
About that. It may sound strange coming from the person herself, but I think that I, Mion, did it.
I don't get what Mi is saying. I'd like an explanation.
Oh, sorry. In other words, I think this may end up being a really cruel story.
Huh? Wait, Michan, you don't mean...
If you follow the trail of evidence to the very end, that's how it would seem. I also have my suspicions. In other words, Rena and Sonozaki both actually had those personalities to begin with, and were merely deceiving my Bara. Am I right?
I don't like that at all. This is all the curse's fault. Renaissance and Mion-san and everybody else are all kind, nice people.
I think that's too. I think that Rana and Mion-chan are really good people at heart. I think that during the story they were definitely possessed by something.
So Rena also thinks it was a curse. Then let me ask everybody who thinks it was a curse. There has to be a reason for a curse, right? I don't think there would be something indiscriminately cursing everything. Can somebody explain that? A curse is a curse. Human logic won't get us anywhere.
Satoko. A personified deity is, in the end, nothing more than the creation of people. That's why their method of thinking is also understandable to humans. Just take a look at the Greek pantheon. They cry, get angry, get jealous. Basically, they are just like humans.
So what you're saying is that Oyashiro-sama's cursing people with some benefit in mind?
That's an odd way of putting it, but basically, yes. That's why they say, far from Jupiter, far from his thunder. You do have a point.
Basically, it doesn't matter if Oyashiro-sama or humans. There has to be a reason.
Like, realized, are they doing this meta interview while people are eating in a cafe? Dude, so rude.
I think they are.
Yeah, right?
Oh, Ninja.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell. I mean, we don't know what the hell Sexy Photographer San's background is. But Rika, what if that reason isn't clear?
I don't know. That's right. This is still just the prologue. There's still a lot of stuff that hasn't been revealed yet.
Yeah, it's hard to come up with any more theories at this point.
No, I won't be satisfied until this is all made clear. Mion-san seems rather particular about this as well. We'll just make the best with what we know. Doesn't this feel interesting? Like the club a little bit?
Yeah, if you put it that way, it does seem interesting.
Well then, let's summarize. Let's see, I think it was a curse. Hot photographer thinks it was people, right? Yeah, I'll go with it being people.
I also agree with the people explanation. That's not to say I hate such fantastical things as curses, but in this particular case, the connection to a curse is a little weak.
Two for the people explanation, then. Rena was on the curse side of things, right?
Ninja.
That's amazing.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely love it. Yes, that is now the canon backstory. Canon.
Canon in my head.
That is hot.
It's canon in my heart now.
backstory.
Sexy photographer son.
Heck yes.
He's his own team just by himself.
He needs no team. It's just him.
Ooh,
Yep.
yeah.
Sadako-chan and I believe it was a curse, right?
Yeah, I think it was a curse. People who say that Rena-san and Mion-san were evil to begin with are more benefiting of a curse. More fitting of a curse. Well, I don't want to believe that my own personality was that twisted. But I have to be cool when I'm in club mode. If I base my choice on just emotion, I'll regret it, you know?
Well, now, it doesn't really matter which side you pick, does it? Huh? Rika hasn't said anything yet. What do you think?
I don't think that Oyashima-sama is a bad god.
Well, that's an interesting opinion.
I don't want people to worship some bad god that just curses people. I'd like a generous god more than one that curses. That's right! Rika-chan is a shrine maiden! Yep, good opinion.
Then what? If Rika-chan doesn't believe that it was Oishiro-sama, then do you think the perpetrators were human after all?
We'll just go with that, Star.
Drink!
For everybody who does not know, she likes to say Star or whatever.
Technically,
a lot.
yeah, technically Rena likes to say star a lot.
True,
but-
true.
But basically whenever they say star, I've just been taking a drink.
Drinking game.
That was the first
Yes, we
one
get-
this chapter. The end of
was very
the
odd.
session. Damn.
Yeah, well, Rena's been crazy for most of this.
That's true. You think there would have been a lot of stars during that laughter?
No, it's too creepy laughter to have a star in it.
That's fair.
Well, now, that means the votes are split right down the middle. So half of us think it was a curse, and half of us think it was people. Rena, just for reference, what did the test players who played the beta version think?
were a lot more players who believed in the people explanation.
Oh yeah. Well, I would assume because of the note, the cutout part of the note, because that was about the syringe. But wasn't it like also there wasn't any mention of Oyashiro?
Yes.
Was there?
There was no mention of Oyashiro in the note that he.
No, there
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah, that part
got
got
taken
cut out. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
syringe and Oyashiro got cut out.
Mm. See, right there. Our veteran comrades are cool, collected, and very observant.
But the beta version only finished partway through the story. That's right, even the people who played the beta might change their minds if they got through to the very end.
What should we do then? This means that the opinions are still split. It's no fun if we don't settle this.
We need there to be an odd number of judges. In other words, we need one more opinion.
Ah, perfect timing then. Why don't we get Kichi-kun himself? The opinion of the victim himself is very valuable.
Since that's decided, it's time for the phone.
Hello, Kichi-kun? It's Rena. Are you busy with work right now?
Yeah, really busy. Just when I thought I'd get a break because the chapter's over, it's already time for the next one.
How's Kei-chan? Busy?
Yeah, he's moping.
I can hear you, you know. Must be nice having a wrap-up party. I wanted to go too.
You can come if you get some character art for yourself.
Rika, that's a secret.
Ah, sorry about that, Keiichi-kun. Anyways, during the current chapter, Keiichi-kun, didn't you die? We're just talking about who the culprit might be.
Basically, we're deadlocked on whether it was people or Oyashiro-sama's curse that killed you.
I'm really sorry, even though you're busy reviewing the script. Keiichi-kun, which do you think it was?
It's obvious, isn't it?
Which?
Isn't it both of them? Targeted by suspicious people from the village and then cursed by some strange Oyashiro-sama on top of that? It's both humans and a curse.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. Everyone's just picking on me.
So very, very pitiful. Next time I pat you on the head for you.
Head pats for Keiichi.
Aww.
In the end, the opinions still split, huh? I'll think this over again. We might have missed something.
Well then, please look forward to the next release, Higurashi When They Cry, Watanagashi. No, I will never be able to say that word.
I mean, you got it the second time around there. That was fine.
It's Watanagashi.
Like
Watanagashi.
Fluent, like a nice good
Watanagashi.
I feel like I'm not doing
Watanagashi.
fluently enough. Like Watanagashi. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, Watanagashi.
Never mind.
You got it.
You're fine.
Okay, never mind.
Hey,
Just ignore my complaining for the last 30 seconds.
Hey, there you go.
Onikakushi party.
We finished the whole of
Yay.
Oh,
the
chapter
first chapter?
The
Chapter-
first arc.
one?
Arc
Wait,
one.
there's
Okay.
on
Question
the-
arc number 1. Do we want to jump into the next chapter?
I'm good either way.
I'm here. What do you think, Kayla?
You're the one who actually has a time.
I do. It's also hilarious as I'm like in the earliest time zone? Latest time zone?
Yeah, the
Whatever.
earlier one.
You're the one on Pacific time, yes.
Yes.
Yes. But I actually do have to go and deal with some things, actually. Sorry.
Okay. So,
Okay, no worries.
yeah. So I guess we will end it there for tonight, and we'll be back next time with the second arc, Watanagashi.
Yes, and also Ninja, I know we are. We all suck at pronouncing.
Yeah, we know.
What are we?
We're all awful at pronouncing stuff.
Oh yeah, we're all terrible at it.
100.
That's why we say things like hot photographer son.
Yeah, so we don't know how to pronounce his fucking name.
Yes,
And also
that
just the
may
fact
be
that
why.
he is nothing but hot
He is a
photographer
very
son.
hot photographer, but also just I don't want to have to say his name.
I know, I'm the worst. I was doing a lot of reading tonight though.
No, you
I
could be
didn't
mean
say
for it.
hot
No,
dogger.
no, no,
I
no.
don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I don't remember.
I call
don't remember any hot
shenanigans.
doggers.
I call shenanigans. Oh man. Okay. So yeah, we will end for tonight. I know you don't get to see the screen because I don't have anything in here. But yeah, this was really fun. We'll find time for the next chapter next time. Otherwise, David and I will be back tomorrow for D&D Bardcore, going Bardcore tomorrow night.
I mean, I'll be there in the chat.
Yay, Kayla!
Well, you can enjoy them going through what's definitely not inspired by any real places. Let's just leave it there.
Yeah, we get shenanigans. Pleasure having you, Watasumi. Welcome. Oh man. So yeah, we'll be back tomorrow night around 7 Eastern. So until then, where can we send some love? Who's still doing stuff? Let's see. Let me adjust my screen so I can see who's currently doing the thing. We can say hi to. Let's see. How about I think Oh man, so many awesome people are streaming right now. It's always so hard, isn't it, to find like a good Oh, Pig and Pepper is doing the Binding of Isaac. There is Woo. Yeah. Bows for Life. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. Glad to have you. Oh my gosh. Let me see. Who can we... There's that. There is... Friend Juliet is doing some music. She is always she's an amazing musician. Red Herring is chatting. Let's see. How about... Let's go the original. Let's go with some Pig and Pepper. Or actually, yeah. Let's go Pig and Pepper. I didn't get I used to sing with her with Twitch Sings. The same with Kelly Siren. I really miss Twitch Sings so much.
I do too.
Yeah, I got to sing with these two too through it. So.
Well, no, I miss watching you do Twitch Sings.
I also got to sing with you. Shut up. It was fun.
I mean, yeah, it's true. It was fun.
Enjoyed
It was
singing.
fun.
Yeah. So yeah, let me put that up there. I know. Pepper. And I met Pig and Pepper through it far too late. She was one of the newer people I met before it ended. So yes, please send her some love. She's an amazing musician. She is a great streamer. Super fun, super positive. So here's my raid call, and for those of you who are subbed, there's that one. So, yeah, friends. Until next time, please, again, I say thank you, Kayla, thank you, David, thank you for getting through this. Now we kind of know
Thank you.
what
Much
you're in
fun.
for.
Murder, all
Murder and crazy.
So fun.
So until next time, friends, you all stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. And I'll see you next time. Sends love to Pig and Pepper. Bye. Boop 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 boop. Where is my?
I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice holder. I'm proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice holder. I'm proud to be in whatever city collector and being a dragon that sits atop my treasure. That's so shiny, I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice hoarder, and my partners love me for it. I'm an